Chapter 2876. You can search for Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System on Baidu. You can search for the latest chapter. What terrifying strength! At the top of the Holy Mother Tower, the four First Order God Emperors from the Sanctuary region widened their eyes in shock. God Emperor Shenwu and God Emperor Shanyan were on the same level as them. Yet, they couldn't even put up a fight against the Dragon King. This caused them to be extremely shocked. If the Dragon King were to strike, they could only wait for death. No, they would be killed before they could even react. Terrifying strength and terrifying speed. Let's go. The Sacred Lord's expression changed. His figure flashed as he flew towards the Saint Pagoda, disregarding the terrifying strength of the Dragon King. Just the death of 2 God Emperors from the Imperial Court and 8 Wilderness was enough for them to go and take a look. Swish, swish, swish. The group of God Emperors from the Sanctuary region flew over quickly. You've brought this upon yourself. Wang Xian looked at the 2 corpses and kept them. Wang, Dragon King, this. Hong Fengyan and the rest flew down and saw Wang Xian keeping the corpses. They were shocked and didn't know what to say. It's fine. So be it. I'll bring some men to the Heavenly Witch region to wipe out the Imperial Court and Witch Society first. Wang Xian shook his head and didn't take this matter to heart. Wang. At this moment, the sacred leader and the other 4 who had just flown overheard Wang Xian's nonchalant words. They paused for a moment and their expressions changed slightly. Wipe out the Witch Society and Imperial Court? This? How arrogant. However, after witnessing the strength of the Dragon King, they had a sliver of faith in him. Holy Leader. Hong Fengyan and the rest cupped their fists and greeted the Holy Leader when they saw him. You must be the Dragon King. I've heard a lot about you. Nice to meet you. The Holy Leader nodded at Hong Fengyan before looking at Wang Xian and cupped his fists. Holy Leader, nice to meet you. Wang Xian looked at the old man and cupped his fists with a smile. I didn't expect the Dragon King to be so strong. Holy Lord sighed slightly. He smiled and gestured with his hand. Since the Dragon King is here, come and sit with us. All right. Wang Xian looked at Hong Fengyan and nodded with a smile. Please. The Sacred Lord extended his hand and invited. Wang Xian nodded his head. With a swift move, he flew towards the Holy Mother Pagoda. The Water God Emperor and the others followed behind Hong Fengyan. Invincible Battle Law followed behind excitedly and was extremely excited. Boom. Is this the strength of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King? Simply heaven-defying. Hiss, did you hear what the Dragon King said at the end? When he goes back this time, he'll directly take people to the Heavenly Wizard Domain and destroy the Wizard Association and the Imperial Court. His tone and momentum are unparalleled in the world. So domineering. 2 God Emperors were instantly killed. Those 2 God Emperors even threatened God Emperor Redwind. The Dragon King didn't say much and directly killed them. Simply too domineering. This is the aura of the leader of a peak force in the resplendent starry sky. Killing him on the spot, even a God Emperor must die. Damn, this is too domineering. This is too exciting. When they saw their Sacred Lord leading Wang Xian and the rest away, the surrounding sacred regions were in an uproar. At this moment, they were secretly feeling pleased. Red Wind Emperor's ascension to Emperor was a joyous occasion for the entire sacred region. Hence, they were unhappy that 2 God Emperors from the Imperial Court and 8 Desolations came to threaten them. Hence, they were also unhappy with the Dragon King. Now that they saw the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace being so domineering and awesome, it was a great relief for them. In fact, if the Dragon Palace could really destroy the Imperial Court Wizard Association, it would be a good thing for the sacred region that Red Wind Emperor had such a good relationship with the Dragon King. Dragon King, I'm really impressed with your strength. At the same time, on the top floor of the Holy Mother Pagoda, the Sacred Lord spoke to Wang Xian with slight surprise. I was just lucky to get some opportunities. I'm impressed with you, Sacred Lord. In this resplendent starry sky, the sacred region is the most peaceful. Upon hearing the Sacred Lord's compliment, Wang Xian replied, Hee, sometimes, peace isn't a good thing. It can't produce an unparalleled expert like you, Dragon King. The Sacred Lord chuckled and replied, Sacred Lord, You really think too highly of me. Wang Xian smiled and shook his head. Both of them flattered each other. Dragon King, to be honest, I wasn't optimistic about the alliance between the 8 barons and the Imperial Court Wizard Association. However, after witnessing your strength, it's hard to say. The Sacred Lord said slowly, I'm indeed surprised that the 8 barons would join the Imperial Court and Wizard Association. However, the Dragon Palace doesn't take them seriously. If nothing goes wrong, I'll get rid of them very soon. Wang Xian said plainly. He had the confidence to say this. Half a month later, the 3 Wind Divine Dragons would be upgraded. At that time, the 5 Second Order God Emperor Realm experts of the Imperial Court wouldn't be intimidated by the alliance of the 3 forces. In fact, Wang Xian had already decided to go to the Heavenly Witch domain after he returned. At that time, Wang Xian would let everyone in this resplendent starry sky know the consequences of going against the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian's words stunned the Sacred Lord in front of him. The 4 Emperor gods from the sanctuary could not help but gasp in shock. If it was in the past, they might have thought that the Dragon King was bragging. However, after witnessing the Dragon King's strength, it was possible. They also knew that the Dragon Palace had a second-order void god Emperor Realm expert. According to the information they received, the Dragon Palace had only 1 second-order god emperor in the past, not the Dragon King. 5 years ago, the Dragon Palace could defeat the Imperial Court and Wizard Association alone. Now, with the Dragon King's strength? Moreover, from the Dragon King's tone, he wasn't afraid of the alliance of the 3 forces. This meant that the Dragon Palace might have a second-order god emperor. At the thought of this, they felt that the Dragon Palace was a little terrifying. Boss Wang, the strength of the Dragon Palace is too terrifying. Invincible Battle Law, who was sitting by the side, was shocked. Shut up. The Upper Water God Emperor glared at his disciple when he heard his disciple's words. Invincible Battle Law twitched his mouth. Boss Wang, if you're going to the Heavenly Witch domain, bring me along, he hurriedly said and then covered his mouth. Dragon King, the alliance of the 3 forces isn't weak. The Dragon Palace has to be careful. The Upper Water God Emperor glared at Invincible Battle Law again before turning to Wang Xian with a smile. I'm confident, Wang Xian replied with a smile. It's good that the Dragon King is confident. The Sanctuary advocates peace and isn't in a position to get involved. If Xiaoyan wants to join, we won't stop her. I also hope that the Dragon Palace can dominate the starry skies. The Sacred Lord pondered for a moment before replying with a smile. At the same time, he conveyed the goodwill of the sanctuary. Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System Latest Chapter Address Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System Full Text Reading Address /39000 Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System TXT Download Address Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System Mobile Reading Address /39000 For convenience of reading next time, you can click on the favorite button below to record this time. Chapter 2882, Sweeping Across a Region. Chapter 2877, Sacred Lord, I would like to build an inheritance teleportation formation at the border of the sacred region. It would give us a planet, a barren planet with an ocean. In the Holy Mother Pagoda, Wang Xian spoke after talking with the Sacred Lord for more than half an hour. This was one of the reasons why he was here. Long-distance teleportation formation? Can the Dragon Palace build such a long-distance teleportation formation? The Sacred Lord asked in surprise. Sure. I would like to build a teleportation formation at a location near Tian Fa Ancient Sky Region. It would be much easier to travel around in the future. Wang Xian smiled. Of course we can. We can go and find a planet for you right now to set up the formation, Dragon King. The Sacred Lord chuckled and stood up. Thank you very much. Wang Xian cupped his fist. Dragon King, follow me. We will go from this teleportation formation. As the Sacred Lord spoke, he waved his scepter and led Wang Xian and the rest down. This is the strategic teleportation formation of the sacred region. It can reach most planets directly. One of the sacred region emperor gods said with a smile. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. We can reach this side at the border. The Sacred Lord waved his scepter and pointed at a spot. The teleportation formation lit up below them. Wang, In the next moment, they appeared in an empty space of a palace. "Greetings, sacred lord and the other emperor gods." The soldiers guarding the area immediately knelt down in awe when they saw the sacred lord and the rest. The sacred lord nodded his head plainly and looked at Wang Xian. "I remember there is a planet nearby. There are no humans living on it, but there are many dire beasts." "Thank you, sacred lord. I will get my men to look for it." Wang Xian cupped his fist and gestured to the 6 wind divine dragons beside him. Roar, roar. The 6 wind divine dragons moved and immediately flew up into the sky. At the same time, they let out a deep roar. Boom. A terrifying draconic aura rushed out from their bodies. 6 divine wind dragons with a wingspan of 20,000 meters spread their wings and flew toward the surrounding starry sky. This is when the 6 wind divine dragons revealed themselves, and when the mighty dragon might filled the sky. Sacred Master and the group of Emperor gods were slightly shocked as they stared at the wind divine dragons with widened eyes. What is this? What's this? Invincible Battle Law rubbed his eyes as he roared in shock. Divine Dragon, the legendary Divine Dragon. Hiss. The body of the sacred lord beside him trembled, and his face was filled with shock. The Divine Dragon was the pinnacle of existence in the universe. It was a legendary race of heaven and earth. It was powerful and invincible. "It's a wind divine dragon." Wang Xian stood by the side and said plainly, "It can't be. Boss Wang, there's a divine dragon in the Dragon Palace. Is this a purebred divine dragon? Is this a purebred wind divine dragon? My invincible combat technique actually saw the divine dragon?" Invincible roared in disbelief, his eyes burning with passion. The celestial emperors of the sanctuary looked at the bodies of the 6 wind divine dragons in awe and veneration. When they looked at the Dragon King, they were filled with respect. The Dragon Palace had a divine dragon. If other people in the bedazzling starry sky were to know about this, the entire bedazzling starry sky would be in an uproar. The legendary divine dragon was in existence at the peak of the universe. Such an existence could stand at the peak of the universe as long as they were given enough resources and time. This wasn't the peak of the bedazzling starry sky, but the peak of the universe. Everyone was shocked to the extreme. They were already shocked after witnessing the terrifying strength of the Dragon King. However, the 6 wind divine dragons that the Dragon Palace displayed made them even more astonished. This was no longer a word to describe it as shocking. A dragon swimming in the shallows was nothing more than this. "Dragon King, over here." Soon, the voice of a wind divine dragon was heard. Wang Xian looked over. With a move of his body, he appeared in the void instantly. Below, the sacred lord and the group were still standing there, staring blankly. Dragon Palace, Divine Dragon, Dragon King. Upper Water God Emperor murmured. Rumor has it that the rise of the Dragon Palace only took a few years, and they defeated the Imperial Court within a few years. Could the Dragon King have obtained the inheritance of the Divine Dragon? An celestial emperor of the sanctuary said with his mouth agape, "The inheritance of the Divine Dragon?" Everyone's body trembled. The inheritance of the Divine Dragon was the pinnacle inheritance of the universe. Since the annihilation of the Divine Dragon race hundreds of millions of years ago, there was little information about the Divine Dragons. But there was no doubt that the inheritance of the Divine Dragon was heaven-defying. "Let's go over." The sacred lord of the sanctuary pursed his lips as he looked at Wang Xian with awe, disregarding everything else. Just the 6 wind divine dragons that the Dragon Palace displayed would make the Dragon Palace an existence that they would have to look up to in the future. Even if the 6 wind divine dragons weren't purebred divine dragons, they were still existences that they couldn't contend with. Divine Dragon, it's actually a divine dragon. Yelu Ying and the rest exclaimed in a daze. Ha ha ha. No wonder the Dragon King improved so quickly. When we first met, he was only a divine lord. Now, he has become an emperor god in less than 10 years. My invincible battle techniques is going to shine. I'm going to shine. At the side, invincible battle techniques danced with excitement. With the divine dragons in the Dragon Palace, as long as he cozied up to the Dragon King in the future, His invincible battle techniques would allow him to roam the universe, and no one would dare to provoke him. Ha ha ha. At the thought of this, he couldn't help but laugh maniacally. However, at the side, the sacred lord of the upper water divine emperor and the other emperor gods were taken aback. A few years ago, he was still a divine lord. Now, he was an emperor god? This was simply going against the heavens. Wouldn't he reach an even higher level in a few years' time? They couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva as they observed a moment of silence for the 8 desolates of the imperial court. Get ready to die for offending the dragon palace that possessed the inheritance of the divine dragons. Wong. The dozen of them moved and flew towards the planet. This. At this moment, the sacred region soldiers guarding the teleportation formation widened their eyes. They exchanged looks and could feel the deep shock from it. Was the dragon palace that terrifying? At this moment, Wang Xian had already entered the ocean of the planet and started to build the dragon palace. The speed of building the dragon palace with the system was fast. However, in the eyes of the sacred lords and the rest, this was the power of the divine dragons. All right, we can reach our main dragon palace directly from here. I wonder if any of you are interested in visiting the Imperial Star Domain. After the dragon palace was completed, Wang Xian invited them with a smile. In that case, we shall accept your invitation. Chapter 2878. This is the Dragon Palace? Sacred Leader and the rest entered the Dragon Palace. Looking at the majestic palace, their eyes sparkled. The Dragon Palace didn't shock them too much. After all, the current Dragon Palace was only a level 7 Dragon Palace. It could only withstand attacks from those below the Emperor God level. However, the majestic Dragon Palace, the mystical dragons circling around the pillars, and the huge dragon throne in the Dragon King Hall gave them the feeling that this was a pure mystical dragon. He had a feeling that this was where the dragon god lived. Prime Minister Turtle, get ready to receive the guests. Wang Xian instructed Prime Minister Turtle. It's Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle immediately answered and began to prepare. Prepare to attack the heavenly witchcraft domain in half a month. After entertaining the Sacred Lord and the rest, Wang Xian called Prime Minister Turtle over when the celestial emperors of the sanctuary flew out of the Dragon Palace to tour around the Dragon Island. Dragon King, will all the disciples of Dragon Palace participate in this expedition? Prime Minister Turtle pondered for a moment before asking. There's no need for that. Just lead the strongest disciples of the 100,000 Dragon Palace. All the Emperor gods will head out. Wang Xian shook his head as a cold gleam flashed in his eyes. Half a month later, the 3 Wind Divine Dragons will complete their breakthroughs. At that time, with our strength, we will be able to sweep through the Imperial Court, the Witch Association, and the Heavenly Witch region. Wang Xian was brimming with confidence. Yes, Dragon King. I'll go and prepare now. Prime Minister Turtle immediately nodded. In the next few days, the Sacred Region's Sacred Leader and the others stayed on Dragon Island for 3 days before leaving. After they returned, the Sacred Leader directly announced that they would become friendly with the Dragon Palace of the Imperial Star region. As for the rest, he didn't announce too many things. After all, when they announced that they would become friendly with the Dragon Palace, it was a unilateral announcement. It was also the Sacred Lord and the others who had shamelessly announced this. The announcement of the Sacred Leader and the others caused the entire Sacred Region to be in an uproar again. Then, from a planet at the edge of the Sacred Region, came news that the Dragon Palace had a divine dragon, a real divine dragon. This caused many people to be extremely shocked. However, there was no evidence that the Dragon Palace had a divine dragon. Although there were countless people discussing it, not many people believed it. The strength of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King had spread throughout the sanctuary. Killing 2 God Emperors in an instant? Killing God Emperors was like killing ants. There were all kinds of comments. Shangshui Divine Emperor, Hong Fengyan, and the rest did not leave the Dragon Island. Knowing that the Dragon Palace was going to conquer the Heavenly Wizard Domain, Zhan Fa Wudi excitedly prepared to follow along. Hong Fengyan was also prepared to follow the Dragon Palace. These few days, they wandered around Dragon Island under Invincible Battle's lead. Half a month passed by quickly. When roars sounded from the Dragon Palace, the entire Dragon Palace started moving. 100,000 of the strongest members of the Dragon Palace quickly flew towards the Dragon Field. The leaders of the Dragon Palace God Emperor level flew over immediately. At the forefront, 9 Wind Divine Dragons swayed their huge bodies and flew over. The 3 Wind Divine Dragons in the center were all 25,000 meters in length and emitted a powerful aura. These 3 Wind Divine Dragons had broken through yesterday, and they now possessed the strength of Second-Order God Emperor realm. Boom, boom, boom. Behind the group of Wind Divine Dragons, the group of Dragon Palace leaders landed in front of the members of Dragon Palace. 13 God Emperors, 13 majestic figures. After killing 2 8 Desolation God Emperors and 1 Imperial Court God Emperor, the Dragon Palace had 3 more God Emperors. Including Wang Xian and the 9 Wind Divine Dragons, the Dragon Palace had a total of 23 God Emperors. Among them, heavenly formation strength could not be compared to an ordinary First-Order God Emperor. Next was Xiaolan, Xiaozhai. Including them, there were a total of 25 God Emperors. Wang Xian came to the front of the group of Dragon Palace members, and his gaze swept across them. All members of Dragon Palace, get ready, he shouted, and the unbeginning saint wings appeared behind his back. His body exuded a powerful dragon might. Yes, Dragon King. The 100,000 members of Dragon Palace roared. Among these 100,000 members, the weakest had the strength of a 6th-order immortal god king. They were the most elite group of people in Dragon Palace. Let's go to Heavenly Witch Domain. Wang Xian waved his arm and shouted, Let's go to Heavenly Witch Domain. The group of Dragon Palace members roared. The 3 Wind Divine Dragons in the lead roared and flew forward, while the other 6 Wind Divine Dragons followed on their sides. Boom! Their wings trembled slightly, and a dragon sedan formed behind them. The dragon sedan was huge, with a radius of 10 kilometers. In front of the dragon sedan, there was a dragon throne. Let's go! Roving Sword and Prime Minister Turtle moved to the left and right of the dragon throne. One represented the dragon guards, while the other represented the important ministers of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian moved and came to the dragon throne. His voice sounded. The 9 Wind Divine Dragons roared, pulled the dragon throne, and flew out of the Dragon Palace. Splash! The Wind Divine Dragons emerged from the sea, and the group of Dragon Palace members followed behind. Woo-woo-woo. Just as they were about to catch up, they heard muffled sounds coming from both sides. The humongous Xiaolan and the small mansion flew out from the sea. Get on the battle, Kuan. Prime Minister Turtle ordered the group of Dragon Palace members. Yes. Swish, swish, swish. 60,000 Dragon Palace members flew towards Xiaolan, while 40,000 Dragon Palace members flew towards the small mansion. Given the size of Xiaolan and the small mansion, not to mention 100,000 troops, they could even carry 1 million or 10 million troops. Oh my gosh! At the side of the Dragon Palace, Invincible Water Emperor Hong Fengyan and his disciples were speechless when they saw the scene. The 9 Wind Divine Dragons stood at the forefront, pulling a dragon sedan chair. Behind them were 2 humongous beasts that carried 100,000 members of the Dragon Palace. There weren't many people from the Dragon Palace this time around, but all of them were experts. Every one of them was a core existence in any force. It was especially so for those Emperor gods who were emitting terrifying auras. They could sense that there were a total of 25 of them. That was 25 Emperor gods. Before Hong Fengyan made her breakthrough, there were only 5 Emperor gods in the entire sanctuary. The Emperor gods of colored glaze are just so. Shangshui Emperor murmured, Master, I want to go too. I want to stand on that huge beast and sweep across a region. I want to go with the Divine Dragons to destroy the Imperial Court and the Sorcerer Association. Invincible said to his master excitedly, If the Dragon King is willing to bring you along, you can go. Shangshui Emperor took a look at his disciple and said, Ha ha ha, great. Boss Wang, hold on. Bring me along. Invincible Fighter opened his mouth wide and flew over excitedly. Hee hee hee, little brat, come over here. Wang Xian took a glance and smiled faintly. Chapter 2879. It won't be long before the entire resplendent starry sky is going to shake because of this. Hong Fengyan murmured as she looked at the Dragon Palace's expedition team. Yeah, it's the Divine Dragon's inheritance. The Imperial Court, which Assembly and 8 Desolation are in for it. Shangshui God Emperor lamented. Hong Fengyan wanted to join the expedition, but Wang Xian didn't agree. Given the current strength of the Dragon Palace, there was no need for outsiders to participate. Wang Xian had complete information on the expedition to the Heavenly Witch Domain. The Dragon King and the rest are simply too powerful. Master, do you think the strongest force in the resplendent starry sky, the Azure Continent, is a match for the Dragon Palace? Yeluing asked her master curiously. Even if the Dragon Palace isn't a match for them now, they can easily surpass the Azure Continent in the future. Shangshui God Emperor answered. They had stayed on the Dragon Island for half a month. During this time, they had a deeper understanding of the Dragon Palace. From the AI, they could also know when the Dragon Palace had risen. In less than 10 years. It was terrifying. Given his understanding of the Azure Continent, it wouldn't take more than 10 years to surpass the Azure Continent. What's that? Where is the Dragon King bringing the 2 giant beasts to? Did something happen? Where are they going? The Dragon Island was bustling with activity once again. 9 divine dragons were pulling the Dragon Palanquin, while Xiao Lan's mansion was carrying 100,000 experts of the Dragon Palace. As they flew into the distance, they attracted the attention of many people on the Dragon Island. They looked at the enormous Xiao Lan's residence with astonished expressions. The ordinary citizens of the Imperial Star Domain didn't know what was happening in the 8 Desolation or the Holy Region. On Dragon Island, some scouts from the Imperial Court and Shaman Guild frowned slightly when they saw this and immediately sent the news over. Woo. At this moment, the roars of the Kuan and Wind Divine Dragon rang out. In the next moment, they disappeared rapidly. Given the speed of Xiao Lan and the Wind Divine Dragon, those below the 5th Order God King realm wouldn't be able to see them clearly. Even though they were massive, they couldn't be seen when they flew at high speed. It was too fast. Dragon King, it will take 2 days to reach the Heavenly Sorcerer Domain, and half a month to reach the Mount Wu of the Sorcerer Domain. In front of the Dragon Sedan, Prime Minister Turtle reported to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. When we arrive at the Heavenly Witchcraft Domain, the Witchcraft Association will definitely receive the news in advance. However, the Sorcerer Union and the Imperial Court don't know the exact strength of our Dragon Palace. They definitely won't escape directly. After all, as sorcerers and powerful array masters, they're best at defensive battles. Prime Minister Turtle continued. How's the preparation for the Heavenly Formation? Wang Xian asked. Dragon King, the Heavenly Array has been waiting for this day for a very long time. Even if we don't say anything, he would already be fully confident. However, the Heavenly Array can't trap the Overlord and the sorcerers. Prime Minister Turtle said. However, Orochi also said that the wizards are very strong. Once you get close to them with your terrifying speed, they will be easier to kill than the Overlord. Prime Minister Turtle added. It would be best if we could kill both of them. Wang Xian murmured. It's fine if we kill one or injure the others. When the time comes, with the power of the Heavenly Array, they won't be able to escape through the array. Prime Minister Turtle said with a smile. That's true, but it's a little troublesome. Wang Xian smiled as he stared at the void in front of him with sparkling eyes. This was the battle where the Dragon Palace shocked the entire starry sky. It was also the battle where the Divine Dragon roared in the starry sky. After this battle, the dragon roared in the wild. The Heavenly Array Geezer is going home. Orochi, who was on Shaolan, looked at the Heavenly Array at the side and chuckled. Yeah, it's time to go home. The Heavenly Array wasn't bothered by Orochi's teasing tone as he looked ahead with a slight sigh. It's time to go home. The Imperial Star Domain was his home. After thousands of years of falling, he had finally returned. This time, he would be able to kill his enemies with his own hands. He had been waiting for this day for a long, long time. Finally, I'm going home. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, he let out a hearty laugh. Hakone Demon Fiend and the others smiled as well. Only Invincible Jean sneaked a peek at the Heavenly Array. The 9 Wind Divine Dragons traveled at high speed with Xiao Lan following closely behind. They were shuttling through the starry sky at high speed. The planets in the imperial star domain didn't sense them passing by at such a terrifying speed. 2 days passed quickly, and there were only a few planets with life left in the vicinity. The Heavenly Witch Domain was just ahead. The Heavenly Witch Domain was once a relatively famous domain in the starry sky. The Heavenly Witch Domain shamans were the most feared existences in the entire starry sky. In the past, the Heavenly Witch Domain had 2 second-order god emperors, but the 2 of them could at least fight against 4 to 5 existences of the same level. Therefore, the Heavenly Witch Domain used to be exceptionally powerful in the starry sky. Its overall strength ranked 3rd. The Heavenly Witch Domain was larger than the Imperial Star Domain. The entire Star Domain had a dark hue. Compared to the Sacred Region, this place was much darker. 90% of the people in the Heavenly Witch Domain were Array Masters who wanted to become a shaman. However, the Array Masters in the Heavenly Witch Domain had more branches. Some, in order to increase their strength, would transfer the bodies of demonic beasts or desolate beasts to their own bodies. In order to increase their strength, they would hunt countless humans to conduct experiments and refine powerful weapons. This was a world where the strong preyed on the weak, and the Shaman Association was the ruler of this world. The Heavenly Witch Domain's flying vehicles were made from the bodies of desolate beasts and demonic beasts. There were also some flying vehicles arranged with arrays. It lacked the feeling of science fiction and was full of magic. The Shaman Association was the ruler of the Heavenly Witch Domain, but they did not directly govern all the planets. In the Heavenly Witch Domain, there were other forces of various sizes. Woo, woo, woo. Roar, roar, roar. In the starry sky of the Heavenly Witch Domain, a deep roar filled with heart-palpitating power resounded, and a powerful pressure filled the surroundings. Several roars announced the arrival of the Dragon Palace. The dragon descends into the Heavenly Witch Domain. What a terrifying roar. What a giant beast. Hiss, it's so fast. Those 9 creatures, no. 11 terrifying creatures, what are they? Giant space beasts? The roars attracted the attention of some nearby life planets. One by one, figures flew into the starry sky. When they saw the giant creatures flying past, their pupils shrank, and their faces were filled with fear. Chapter 2880. That's a divine dragon. A void beast? What a terrifying aura. It's at least at the God Emperor level. Hey, look at that beast. There are humans on it. Look at what those 9 terrifying creatures are pulling behind them. What is that? God carriage? Why do I think those 9 creatures look like divine dragons? Are they really divine dragons? The group from Dragon Palace flew quickly in Heavenly Witch Region. As they got closer to the center of Heavenly Witch Region, there were more life planets and more experts. More and more people saw the 9-wind divine dragons pulling the dragon carriage. 2 giant beasts carried the experts from Dragon Palace, especially the 9-wind divine dragons and Xiaolan's terrifying aura. The God Emperor's aura caused the experts from Heavenly Witch Region who were closer to them to turn pale. The irresistible aura made them feel fear. As time passed, there was more and more news about the giant beasts flying on the communication network of Heavenly Witch Region. They are flying towards the center of Heavenly Witch Region. After 6 or 7 days, many powerhouses on the Sky Witch Domain's communication network were shocked to discover that a dozen huge behemoths were flying towards the center of the Sky Witch Domain. The center of Heavenly Witch Region was where the Shaman Association was. Another 2 days passed, and some people took pictures of the scene. In the picture, 9 creatures with huge wings were pulling a dragon carriage. On the left and right sides, there were 2 giant beasts, and on those beasts, there were figures. The picture was slightly blurry, but even so, it caused a huge stir in Heavenly Witch Region. Especially some experts from Shaman Association and Imperial Court, they immediately recognized those were the 2 giant beasts from Dragon Palace. Dragon King might be coming. When this news came out, it caused a huge stir. 5 years ago, Shaman Association headed to Imperial Star Region to kill and revive Sky Array God Emperor. But what the entire Heavenly Witch Region did not expect was that Shaman Association would return in defeat. Countless people from the Imperial Dynasty returned together with him. Later, They learned that Shaman Association allied with Imperial Court, but still lost to Dragon Palace. Now, in a short 5 years, Dragon Palace actually came over. This caused the entire Heavenly Witch region to boil. The Dragon Palace attacked us directly. Aren't they too arrogant? How dare they enter the depths of our Heavenly Witch region? Courting death. Does the Dragon Palace really think that they can destroy our Wizard Association? As long as they dare to come over, we will definitely make them pay a heavy price. Our Witch Association has been established in the Heavenly Witch region for nearly 1 billion years. No faction has ever dared to attack us. A few 100 million years ago, our Witch Association experts killed the colored glaze god Emperor, but they didn't dare to attack us. On the communication network of the Heavenly Witchcraft domain, countless people were discussing. The members of the Wizard Association, in particular, were filled with anger and disdain for the Dragon Palace's attack. Everyone in the entire bedazzling starry sky knew that array masters possessed the strength to fight against those of a higher level. Moreover, they were best at defense. If a formation master took the initiative to attack, he might be able to fight 1 against 2. However, if he was given enough time and they were fully prepared, he would be able to take on 4 of them at once. This was the strength of an array master. It was even more so for them to become the powerhouses of the Wizard Association. Now that they knew that the Dragon Palace might have invaded, countless members of the Wizard Association were filled with disdain and scolded the Dragon Palace for being too arrogant. Of course, there were also people who said that the Dragon Palace only attacked because they were confident. After all, the Sky Array God Emperor had joined the Dragon Palace. Sky Array understood the Wizard Association better, so it was impossible for them to attack blindly. They must be confident. However, there were not many people who said that. Pung. Damn it, the Dragon Palace actually invaded. Their strength must have increased again. Otherwise, why would they dare to attack? At this very moment, at the center of the Heavenly Witch region, at the Witch Mountain, within the highest mountain peak, the Son of Heaven of the Wizard Association slammed the table heavily with an ugly expression. His expression kept changing. The Dragon Palace actually attacked. His teacher actually attacked. Emperor Lord, have you contacted God Emperor Shun Wu of the Imperial Court? At the frontmost position, the sorcerer glanced at the Son of Heaven, then looked at the Emperor Lord and asked, Not yet. According to the time, he and 8 Desolation God Emperor should need more than a month to reach here. I don't know if they are in a hurry or for some other reason, but they haven't replied. The Emperor Lord frowned slightly and shook his head. They didn't receive any news about what happened in the sanctuary. The distance was too far. As they had to come with 8 Desolation God Emperor, they couldn't return to their own holy kingdom directly. Hence, it would take a few months to reach the Heavenly Witch region by flying. Based on the time, they wouldn't be able to make it here even if they were to travel at their fastest speed. I think the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace should already know that 8 Desolation is going to join forces with us. Hence, he attacked and is prepared to take a gamble. The Emperor Lord of the Imperial Court guessed with flickering eyes. I agree with this. No matter how fast they improve, it's impossible to double their strength. 8 Desolation and our alliance should be under great pressure, so they are prepared to take a gamble. An Emperor God from the Witchcraft Association nodded in agreement. Tianjun, he isn't a fool. I know him better than all of you. If he isn't confident, why would he ask the Dragon King to attack us? The Son of Heaven looked at them and said with a gloomy face. He didn't agree with the Emperor Lord. He knew his teacher very well. His teacher knew the power of the Wizard Association. If he wasn't confident, would the Dragon Palace attack? The strength of the Dragon Palace is already stronger than before, the sorcerer said with a bitter face. He waved his arm and a picture of 9 wind divine dragons appeared. Compared to the picture on the communication network of the Heavenly Witch region, this picture was clearer. What creature is this? Why does it look like a divine dragon? It looks like the legendary divine dragon. Could it be a divine dragon? In an instant, the Emperor Lord of the Imperial Court and the other Emperor gods stood up and shouted. It should be a creature with the bloodline of the divine dragon. These 9 creatures are at the level of an Emperor God. In the battle 5 years ago, The Dragon Palace didn't have these 9 Emperor God creatures. The sorcerer said with a solemn face, 9 Emperor Gods? Hearing his words, the Sovereign Lord and the others' expressions slowly turned ugly. 5 years ago, the Dragon Palace had more than a dozen Emperor Gods. Now, there were 9 more. In just 5 years. This kind of improvement was too terrifying. This kind of enemy was too terrifying. Emperor Lord, what should we do now? Hide? Meet up with 8 Desolation? The Emperor Lord of the Imperial Court looked gloomy as he clenched his fists. The Dragon Palace must be afraid that we will join forces with 8 Desolation at this time. That also means that the strength of the Dragon Palace is not as strong as after we join forces with 8 Desolation. The sorcerer's eyes flickered. The Wizard Association has been in the Heavenly Witch region for 1 billion years. In terms of defense, they are not afraid of any invasion. Chapter 2881. Sorcerer, are you confident? On Wu Mountain, the Emperor looked at the sorcerer in front of him and asked. The Sorcerer Association has been around for 1 billion years. The entire Wu Mountain has been built by over 20 generations of sorcerers and strengthened by close to 100 Emperor Gods. The entire defense of Wu Mountain is extremely strong. Although the Heavenly Formation knows the Sorcerer Association well, he doesn't know how strong we are after all the formations are activated. Forget about the Heavenly Formation at its peak. Even if there were 2 or 3 Heavenly Formations at its peak, they wouldn't be able to break the defense of the Sorcerer Association. The sorcerer stood there proudly and said confidently, Huh. Looking at the sorcerer's confidence, the Emperor of the Imperial Court and the other Emperor Gods were relieved. That's great. I believe in the experts of the Sorcerer Association when it comes to defense. The Emperor heaved a sigh of relief and said. Even the Emperor, who was seated at the side, relaxed. He heaved a sigh of relief and closed his eyes. The resurrection of his master had indeed put him under immense pressure. He had only joined the Sorcerer Association for a mere 10 million years. He didn't know much about the secrets of the Sorcerer Association. As long as they could fend off the invasion of Dragon Palace, everything would be fine. Since Dragon Palace dares to attack, the Sorcerer Association will make them pay the price. Gather all the experts, set up the formation, and await their arrival. The sorcerer looked at the Emperor Gods of the Sorcerer Association and gave the order coldly. Yes, Sir Sorcerer. The group of God Emperors immediately nodded their heads as a sinister expression appeared on their faces. Very soon, the entire Sorcerer Association and the entire Wu Mountain started moving. Countless experts set up formations around Wu Mountain. Even an Emperor God of the Sorcerer Association set up a formation personally. The sorcerers entered the Wu Mountains one by one and activated the long-sealed arrays. The Sorcerer Association had spent 1 billion years building the entire Wu Mountain. Many Emperor Gods had left their powerful formations there. When the formation was activated, they believed that Wu Mountain would be indestructible. We have confirmed that Dragon Palace is about to attack. Those monsters are experts from Dragon Palace. All the experts of the Sorcerer Association are setting up the formation. Those monsters are at the Emperor God level. The strength of Dragon Palace is really terrifying. The Witch Association's greatest strength lies in its array formations and defensive battles. Coupled with Wu Mountain, the territory that the Witch Association has built for nearly 1 billion years, it's wishful thinking for the Dragon Palace to attack. With the defense of Wu Mountain, even if they had twice the power of the Witches Association, it would still be difficult to break through. Furthermore, there are experts from the Imperial Court there. Back then, Cheng Wu Hui led the experts to attack the Dragon Palace. I didn't expect the Dragon Palace to invade in just 5 years. On the communication network of the Heavenly Witchcraft Territory, when everyone saw the experts and disciples of the Witch Association being summoned back, they received a message from the experts of the Witch Association. The news of the Dragon Palace's invasion was confirmed. However, the people of the Heavenly Witchcraft region, as well as the experts and disciples of the Witchcraft Association, were full of confidence in this defensive battle. The strongest aspect of an array formation was its defense. Coupled with the Witch Guild's billion-year heritage, they had enough information to defend against the Dragon Palace's attack. Time passed day by day. At Wu Mountain, countless experts of the Witchcraft Association had gathered. Powerful formations were set up one after another. They stood on Wu Mountain and waited quietly. As the army of the Dragon Palace got closer, the number of vital planets in the central region increased. On the communication network of the Heavenly Witchcraft Territory, more and more information about the army of the Dragon Palace was released. It could be said that the route of the Dragon Palace was under the control of the entire Heavenly Witchcraft Territory. Dragon King, we're almost there. In the Dragon Sedan, Wang Xian leaned back and sipped on tea while reading up on the information and developments of the Heavenly Witchcraft Territory. Prime Minister Turtle walked in and reported to Wang Xian. Almost there? He put down the book beside him and stood up slowly. We'll reach Wu Mountain in about an hour. The Witch Association should have known of our arrival and are already waiting for us, Prime Minister Turtle said with a smile. Then let's see how strong a force that has been in this star region for 1 billion years is. Wang Xian walked out of the dragon sedan slowly and came to the dragon throne in front. He sat on it and looked around. The center of the Heavenly Witchcraft Territory was unusually prosperous with many vital planets around it. At this time, many experts were floating in the sky above these vital planets and looking in their direction. Hee. Wang Xian smiled faintly and looked ahead. An hour passed quickly. At the same time, at the entrance of Wu Mountain, hundreds of millions of people stood on Wu Mountain. Many experts arranged themselves in a formation, holding powerful weapons in their hands. 9 figures stood in the center at the front. Sorcerer, Emperor Lord, 1 Emperor God from the Imperial Court, and 6 other Emperor Gods from the Witch Association. The Emperor God on the far left looked a little weak. At this moment, his eyes were filled with hatred as he stared at the void in front of him. His enemy was coming. In the battle millions of years ago, his body was severely damaged by the sky array, resulting in an incurable injury. His current strength was the weakest among the Emperor Gods. He didn't go to the Imperial Star region the previous time. They're coming. In the center, the Emperor of the Imperial Court gripped his scepter tightly. Pale radiant energy emanated from his body as he stared ahead with reddened eyes. Blurry figures appeared one by one. It was the group of people in front that had turned the Imperial Court into stray dogs. Now, the other party was chasing after them and wanted to annihilate them. Ka. The Emperor Lord's fist made cracking sounds as he exerted force. The other Emperor God beside him was also filled with murderous intent and anger. However, they didn't know that the other Emperor God from the Imperial Court had already been killed by Wang Xian. Hoot. At this moment, a deafening roar was heard. The dragon might of the divine dragon, the savage might of Zhang Kuan, the terrifying roar and aura surged towards them. Swoosh. On Wu Mountain, all the disciples of the Witch Association and some experts from the Imperial Court raised their weapons and were filled with murderous intent. Murderous intent filled the air. Those 9 creatures. The eyes of the Imperial Court overlord sorcerers locked onto the 9 wind divine dragons, their eyes filled with solemn expressions. These 9 creatures were very similar to the divine dragons they had seen in the history books. In fact, they were almost identical. Looking at the 9 creatures face to face, they felt a strong sense of danger. On Wu Mountain, the other experts and disciples of the Witch Association had the same feeling. Are those true dragons? Stop! Wang Xian sat on the dragon throne and looked at the countless people of the Witch Association and the Imperial Court as he spoke plainly. Hoot. The divine dragons roared and Zhang Kuan growled as they stopped in their tracks. They faced the people of Wu Mountain from afar. Chapter 2882. Dragon's Wrath 3-inch 5 years ago, you attacked our Dragon Palace. 5 years later, our Dragon Palace is here. Don't you feel that time flies? In the void in front of Wu Mountain, the Dragon Palace and the Changwu Association Imperial Court faced each other from a distance. Wang Xian looked at the group of sorcerer overlords and stood up from the dragon throne with a faint smile on his face. If it weren't for the current situation, his words would sound like a greeting to an old friend that he hadn't seen for a long time. Dragon King, don't be so arrogant. It won't be long before the end of the Dragon Palace. When the Emperor of the Imperial Court heard Wang Xian's words, He couldn't maintain his composure at all as he bellowed furiously. Ha ha ha, a stray dog still dares to bark. Wang Xian laughed out loud and shouted with a mocking face. His words caused the expressions of everyone in the imperial dynasty to turn really ugly. Dragon King, I don't know who gave you the confidence to attack the heavenly witchcraft domain and our witchcraft association. Is it that old thing, Sky Formation? The sorcerer stared at Wang Xian coldly and questioned him. Ha ha, wizard, as long as I'm alive, your wizard association will always be on tenterhooks. Now that I'm here, you should welcome me warmly. After all, it's about to end, and you can't always worry about me killing my way here. On Little Blue's body, Sky Matrix laughed and stared at the wizard with murderous eyes. Worried? Our witch association was able to kill you once in the past, and we can still kill you now. Dragon King, our witch association has been in the heavenly witch domain for 1 billion years. Do you think you can destroy us with your strength? Today, I will make you pay a terrible price. Today, I'll let an arrogant fellow like you witness the power of our wizard association. The sorcerer's aura surged forward, his face filled with rage. All right. Today, I want to see the power of the wizard association. I want to see the power of an organization that has stood strong for 1 billion years. I hope you won't disappoint our Dragon Palace. Wang Xian's eyes were sharp as he lifted his head slightly and spoke loudly. Every great battle will be recorded in the history books, and every battle will have a name. Why don't I name it first? Let's call it the Battle of Dragon Punishment. He continued to speak indifferently. The Battle of Dragon Punishment. This was also the first real battle of a purebred divine dragon stepping into the resplendent starry sky. Battle of Dragon Punishment? Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, the sorcerer overlord and the rest revealed an embarrassed look. Arrogant! Arrogant! The two of them roared and stared coldly at Wang Xian. Ha ha ha! Members of Dragon Palace, get ready. Wang Xian laughed out loud and waved his arm. Boom, boom, boom. All the members of the Dragon Palace immediately flew down from Xiaolan's body. A group of Emperor God-level experts from Dragon Palace floated around the 9-wind divine dragons. Waves of vast and terrifying aura surged forward. Are these all the Emperor Gods of the Dragon Palace? SSS, including the 9 living beings, there are more than 20 Emperor Gods in the Dragon Palace. When all the Emperor Gods of the Dragon Palace appeared, all the experts and disciples of the Witchcraft Association and the Imperial Court on Wu Mountain in front of them were shocked. There were more than 20 Emperor Gods. Even though they did not unleash their full power, their terrifying aura still made them feel extremely pressured. Even the Sorcerer Overlord and the rest were shocked. More than 20 Emperor Gods. There were more than 20 Emperor Gods in the Dragon Palace. In just 5 years, the number of Emperor Gods in the Dragon Palace had almost doubled. SSS, look, those are all Emperor Gods of the Dragon Palace. How can there be so many of them? More than 20 Emperor Gods. Can the Witchcraft Association hold them off? More than 20. This Dragon Palace is so strong. No wonder they dared to attack us directly. This force is too terrifying. At this time, some experts from the heavenly witchcraft domain were lurking in the surrounding void a distance away. This vast battle had a great impact on the heavenly witchcraft domain. Experts from other forces in the heavenly witchcraft domain naturally came over to investigate. Seeing the Emperor Gods of the Dragon Palace, they were terrified. Mount Wu Misty Rain Array, activate. Heavenly Secret Killing Array, activate. Sorcerer Shadow Array, activate. Lianshan Vast Earth Array, activate. Sorcerer World Array, activate. The sorcerer swept his gaze across the Emperor Gods of the Dragon Palace and roared with a cold expression. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz, buzz. When the sorcerer recited the name of a large array, the entire Wu Mountain shook. The vast array instantly enveloped a radius of 100 billion kilometers, including the entire Wu Mountain. A wave of mighty energy surged into the void. 7 great formations slowly rose up. That extremely frightening energy frantically surged out in all directions. Clouds and mist shrouded the Wu Mountain. A majestic shadow wearing a bamboo hat floated in the middle of the Wu Mountain. Wu Mountain was connected, and murderous intent was everywhere. The entire Wu Mountain had become a sorcerer world. The 7 large arrays formed an incomparably powerful defense. Wang Xian stood on the dragon throne and watched the terrifying arrays rise. His eyes were beaming with astonishment. Our witchcraft array has not risen for hundreds of millions of years. Dragon King, I'd like to see how you can break our defense. If you can't annihilate us today, the Witchcraft Association will annihilate you next. The sorcerer stared at Wang Xian and roared sternly. All disciples of the Witchcraft Association, prepare to attack. The sorcerer raised his hands, and the Purgatory World Array diagram appeared above him as he continued to order. Roar. Kill. A deafening voice filled with murderous intent reverberated in the center of the heavenly witchcraft domain. Waves of energy gathered on the Wu Mountain. Bring it on. The Emperor held the scepter of light in his hand and floated up slowly. 2 pairs of holy wings of light appeared behind him. Let the battle of dragon punishment begin. Kill. Wang Xian commanded loudly with a cold look on his face. Howl, howl, howl. Howl, howl, howl. When Wang Xian gave the order, the group of Emperor gods from the Dragon Palace at the front let out a roar. They immediately got into their battle mode and raging energy soared into the sky. In the middle, the 9 divine wind dragons raised their heads and flapped their huge wings. They were the first to charge forward. Their eyes were filled with fighting spirit as they charged forward. The Wu Mountain ahead was shrouded by 7 terrifying arrays. The moment the 9 wind divine dragons attacked, the vast and majestic sorcerer shadow above the Wu Mountain charged towards the 9 divine dragons with a powerful aura. In the middle of the vast sorcerer shadow were waves of terrifying murderous intent. We are the wind divine dragons. The 3 second-order god Emperor Realm Wind divine dragons in the middle swayed their bodies and flapped their wings. In the next instant, the heavens and earth changed as a violent gale descended upon the void. Chapter 2883. Dragon Punishment 4. Boom, boom, boom. Windstorm. A terrifying windstorm. In front of Wu Mountain, there were 7 great arrays. The 7 wind divine dragons that were the first to fly over let out a roar when they saw which shadow attacking them. Their wings flapped rapidly. In an instant, the entire sky seemed to have undergone a terrifying change. At its peak, sky formation might not be as strong as 1 second-order god Emperor Realm Wind Divine Dragon, but 3 second-order god Emperor Realm Wind Divine Dragons could instantly destroy sky formation. The 2 sky formations at their peak were comparable to the 3 second-order god Emperor Realm Wind Divine Dragons from the Dragon Palace. Shaman and the others predicted that Wu Mountain's defense could withstand at least 3 sky formations at his peak. Of course, there was a prerequisite. He, the Lord, and the other god emperors had to attack together. Hence, when the 9 wind divine dragons attacked, the world in front of Wu Mountain changed. Boom, boom, boom. The wind elemental laws rumbled and instantly enveloped the entrance of Wu Mountain. A terrifying hurricane attacked the witch shadow. Bam, bam, bam. The witch shadow formed by the array met the hurricane head-on without any intelligence. A violent collision sound rang out, and the incomparably huge witch shadow slowly collapsed. That terrifying hurricane, as if it was going to destroy the world, continued to charge forward. This, just the attack of the 9 wind divine dragons, was enough to stop the shaman, the Lord, and all the experts and disciples of the 2 forces. They looked at the incoming hurricane in horror, their hearts beating violently. Too fast. The wind divine dragon's attack was too fast. In just the first round of collisions, the witch shadow collapsed. Moreover, the terrifying hurricane continued to attack them. Those 9 creatures roared just now. Are they wind divine dragons? Wind divine dragons. Sky Formation's eyes widened as he looked at the attack in front of him in shock. All members of the Witchcraft Association, attack, attack. Strengthen the array, strengthen the array. The wizard looked at the scene in front of him and heard the voice of the Son of Heaven. His heart beat violently and he shouted, Purgatory World, block it. He roared. The array diagram floating above him attacked the hurricane in front of him. Kill, kill, kill. On the surrounding Wu Mountain, All the experts and disciples came to their senses and immediately shouted. Beams of energy shrouded the area ahead. Billions of people launched their own attacks, and it was like a natural disaster that covered everything in front of them. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of an explosion rang out, and the violent sound covered everything. The hurricane was stopped and was stuck in the void. Half of the world was windy, and the other half was chaotic. Slowly, the world of wind was destroyed. All the attacks of the imperial court weren't something that the 9 wind god dragons could block. Even so, the fact that the 9 divine wind dragons were able to force them to this point was already very terrifying. He. Bear the wrath of the dragon god. Yamada no Orochi let out a roar. He moved and charged forward. At the forefront, the other dozen emperor gods of Dragon Palace also dashed over. Their bodies carried a terrifying aura. Woo woo woo. Woo woo woo. Xiaolan and the rest raised their heads and let out a deep roar. They charged towards the rising array. Block it with all your might. Activate all the arrays. The shaman's face turned ugly when he saw all the attacks from the Dragon Palace. Oh no, Lord Shaman, the 3 divine dragon-like creatures in the center are all second-order god Emperor realm experts. The moment the shaman's words fell, one of the emperor gods of Dragon Palace shouted with an ugly expression on his face. The Dragon Palace has 4 second-order god Emperor realm experts. The Emperor Lord beside him clenched his fists and shouted. They could clearly feel the attack from the 9 divine wind dragons. It was very powerful. Now that the other dozen Emperor gods of Dragon Palace were charging over, how are they going to block it? It's not that we can't block it. Activate all the arrays, and we can block at least 4 to 5 second-order god Emperor realm experts. The shaman gritted his teeth and shouted, Kill. As soon as he finished speaking, he moved and flew up into the sky, setting up several formations around him. The strength of the Dragon Palace had completely exceeded their expectations, especially the number of second-order god Emperor realm experts. 4 to 5 second-order god Emperor realm experts? Even if the Dragon King is a second-order god Emperor realm expert, he should be able to block it. The Emperor Lord's eyes lit up when he heard the shaman's words. In a flash, he flew up into the sky and launched a barrage of attacks. Heaven Fate Killing Array, Attack. One of the Emperor gods of Dragon Palace controlled the array with a solemn expression, blocking the attacks from the Dragon Palace's Emperor realm experts. Every single one of the 7 great formations possessed immense power. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that the arrays here could kill a first-order god emperor. However, the Dragon Palace had too many emperor gods. The great sorcerer shadow array was destroyed in an instant. So. Countless wind blades covered the front and attacked the emperor gods of Dragon Palace. However, to roving heavens and the other emperor gods, the formation posed no threat at all. They're fighting. The strength of the Dragon Palace seems to be beyond our expectations. Those 9 creatures call themselves divine wind dragons. Are they real divine dragons? Those 9 divine dragons are so powerful. Hiss! They broke through the Witch Union's array in an instant. The war has broken out. The strength displayed by the Dragon Palace is terrifying. Can the Witch Union defend against them? Some experts of the heavenly witchcraft domain hidden in the surrounding void shivered slightly when they saw the war erupt completely and felt the waves of mighty energy. If they were to enter such a war, there wouldn't be anything left of them. Woo woo woo. Mountain Link Vast Earth Formation. Stop that giant beast. At this time, Xiaolan arrived in front of the Witch Union. The Witch Master looked at Xiaolan and ordered with a gloomy expression. He had fought with Xiaolan before, and he couldn't do anything to it. Looking at Xiaolan, his expression kept changing. He was confident that the Witch Union could defend against 4 to 5 second-order god Emperor realm experts. However, this was only against ordinary second-order god Emperor realm experts. This beast was terrifying and could probably crush anyone in the same realm. Mountain Link Vast Earth Array. Mountain Earth Soul. Defend. Below, the experts of the Witch Union heard the Witch Master's order and activated the Mountain Link Vast Earth Array. Mountains condensed from laws appeared out of thin air and bombarded Little Blue. Woo-woo. When Xiaolan saw the mountains coming towards it, Its body emitted a grayish energy as it collided with the mountains. Chapter 2884, Dragon Punishment 5-inch Boom. Little Blue's enormous body, which was more than 100 kilometers long, slammed heavily into the Mountain Link vast Earth formation, causing the entire space to tremble. Ka. Very soon, cracks started to appear on the powerful formation protecting Wu Mountain. Buzz. Woo woo. Little Blue's body trembled slightly, and it let out a low roar. The defensive mountain peaks formed from the earth element quickly crumbled and turned into dust. Not good. The vast earth formation has been broken. The experts of the Witchcraft Association were horrified as they shouted in shock. The shaman turned around, and his heart sank when he saw this. The Emperor Lord's expression changed, and he had a bad feeling about this. You must be careful. With a thought, he reminded another God Emperor from the Imperial Court. That God Emperor was taken aback, and he gritted his teeth. He knew what the Emperor Lord meant. His gaze swept across Fong Imperial Court's disciples, and he clenched his fists tightly as he stared at the members of the Dragon Palace. At this moment, a series of terrifying roars rang out. The 9 wind divine dragons in the center flapped their enormous wings, and countless miniature wind divine dragons appeared around them. Each of the miniature divine wind dragons seemed to have come to life. They let out a dragon roar and charged forward to attack. This attack, the shaman controlling the formation in the center felt his heart tighten when he saw the 9 wind divine dragons attacking again. Witchcraft World Formation, Mount Wu's Misty Rain Formation, defend. The shaman waved his arm, and the 2 formations rose into the air, flying towards the countless wind attribute divine dragons. The Witchcraft World and Mount Wu's Misty Rain Formation were the 2 strongest formations of the Witchcraft Union. The 2 great formations had been built, modified, and strengthened for 1 billion years. Now, the 2 great formations could cover the entire Wu Mountain. Moreover, when the 2 formations were activated, a second-order God Emperor Realm expert attacked them, but they didn't budge. Even if there were 2 or 3 second-order God Emperor Realm experts, they could forget about breaking this array formation. Boom boom boom. Pa. However, when the attacks of the countless wind attribute divine dragons landed on the 2 formations, a scene that struck fear into the hearts of everyone in the Witch Clan appeared. The small wind divine dragons formed by the wind attribute attacked the 2 formations, causing cracks to appear on them. Especially when the wizard saw this scene, his heart sank. Huang Xiaolong was confident that he could withstand the attacks of 4 to 5 second-order God Emperor Realm experts because of these 2 formations. These 2 were the legacy spell formations of the Magus Guild. But now, their inheritance formation was slowly cracking apart. This caused him to have a bad premonition. Since the start of the battle, the Witchcraft Guild and the others had been using the formation to defend themselves. They had not clashed directly. However, the formations were broken one by one, and they were broken so easily. Then, Sorcerer, the formation is about to break. The formation is about to break. At this moment, Tianzi, who was standing at the side, shouted at the Sorcerer with a pale face. Spell formations were their strongest trump card. As powerful spell formation masters and shamans who relied on spell formation masters as their foundation, once the spell formation was broken, they would lose all other means. If even the spell formations couldn't withstand it, the ending that awaited them was imaginable. Shut up, I know. The Sorcerer roared in frustration. He knew the consequences of the spell formations being broken. Another roar came from the center of the formation. The 9 wind divine dragons flapped their incomparably huge dragon wings and charged towards the Shaman World and Mount Wu's Misty Rain formation. Bam, bam, bam. With their terrifying speed, they charged directly in front of the 2 spell formations. Violent collisions resounded. Crash. It was as if the mirror protecting Mount Wu had shattered. In the next moment, terrifying dragon roars resounded. Waves of majestic dragon might appeared in front of all the experts and disciples of the Witchcraft Guild and Imperial Court. The spell formations were broken. In less than 2 minutes. They're broken. The 5 spell formations of the Witchcraft Guild are all broken. SSS, so fast. That's the Witchcraft Guild of our heavenly witchcraft territory. They've been the overlord for 1 billion years and have a terrifying heritage. Yet, they're broken so quickly. Those 9-wind divine dragons are so terrifying. Only real divine dragons can be so terrifying, right? The Dragon Palace is too powerful, especially those 9 divine dragons. They're exactly the same as the wind divine dragons in the records. They're definitely real divine dragons. The experts of the heavenly witchcraft territory who were hiding in the surrounding void and watching the battle were dumbfounded. Their spell formations, the overlord of the heavenly witchcraft territory and the witchcraft guild that was best at defense, were quickly broken. In less than 2 minutes, the spell formations that protected the entire Mount Wu had collapsed. If the Witchcraft Guild doesn't have a trump card, they're finished. Everyone thought to themselves, "Oh no, they're attacking. Guardian, Guardian, they're attacking. Lord Sorcerer." When the 9-wind divine dragons entered the territory of Mount Wu, the experts and disciples of the Witchcraft Guild standing on Mount Wu had a drastic change of expression as they roared in horror. Facing the 9 terrifying wind divine dragons, they felt that they weren't on the same level as them at all. If the 9 wind divine dragons moved even a little, they would die. There was a huge difference in their lives. Oh no! The sorcerer's expression changed drastically. The defense of the Witchcraft Guild that he was so proud of had been broken so easily. How are they going to fight next? ***. The foreheads of the few emperor gods of the Witchcraft Guild were filled with cold sweat. Ha ha ha, Space Seal. The Witchcraft Guild has been more than 10 million years. More than 10 million years. I've waited for more than 10 million years. Today, I'm going to destroy you. At that moment, Sky Formation, who hadn't made a move and had been preparing, let out an excited roar. Buzz, buzz, buzz. As he spoke, their bodies separated one by one. 9 heads of 9 different attributes flew in all directions. Rays of light shot out from each of the heads. 9 types of light shone on the entire area, covering half of Mount Wu. In front, all the emperor gods, experts, and disciples of the Witchcraft Guild were shrouded in it. Space Seal. This was the array formation that Sky Formation had been preparing ever since he learned that the Dragon Palace was going to attack the Heavenly Witch Domain. Not good. At that moment, the sorcerer's expression changed drastically. Boom, boom, boom. As the array formation collapsed, the group of emperor gods from the Dragon Palace rushed in. Behind them, the 100,000 Dragon Palace disciples also rushed in. How can this be? The Emperor Lord looked at this scene with a face full of unwillingness. He knew that the Witchcraft Guild was finished. In this short battle, he could sense that the 3 second-order God Emperor Realm Wind Divine Dragons were not people that a second-order God Emperor like him could compare to. It wasn't an injustice that the Witchcraft Guild's defense was destroyed, because the other party was a true divine dragon. Chapter 2885 Dragon Punishment 6-inch Dammit. Why is the Dragon Palace so strong? How can this be? The 5 arrays crumbled one by one. The shaman's blood-red eyes stared at the Dragon Palace's experts, his body trembling. Before the battle, he was confident that the Witchcraft Union's array could defend this place. When the Inheritance Array was fully activated, 4 to 5 second-order God Emperor Realm experts could defend against it. But now, it only lasted for 2 minutes. This was a domineering suppression. He knew that the Witchcraft Union was no match for the Dragon Palace. The Witchcraft Union was finished. Shaman, our space has been sealed. We can't escape back to the Divine Kingdom. Our space has been sealed. At this time, a voice filled with fear and panic sounded again. The Emperor's face was pale as he looked around. He was panicking. He had lost his will to fight. How can the Dragon Palace be so strong? Not good. The Sky Array God Emperor has set up an array. We can't escape instantly. Is that a real divine dragon? Is that a real divine dragon? On Wu Mountain, countless powerful disciples of the Witchcraft Association panicked when they saw that the Dragon Palace had broken through their defenses. They growled in fear. Jia Jia Jia. Go to hell for going against the Dragon Palace. Sky Array, do you want us to help you kill that disciple of yours? Roar, roar, roar. The Dragon Palace is awesome. Kill them, Kill them. At this time, the excited roars of the eight-headed devil Shah and invincible Jean could be heard from the front. Continue to attack. Kill them all. Prime Minister Turtle stood at the back and ordered loudly. Woo woo woo. The 9 divine dragons continued to roar. Their terrifying dragon might surged towards them. The barbaric aura of Xiaolan's residents filled the entire Wu Mountain. The doomsday of the Witchcraft Union was here. Kill them all. The shaman roared with bloodshot eyes as he saw the Dragon Palace's experts continue to attack. Boom, boom, boom. The experts and disciples on Wu Mountain gritted their teeth and released their strongest attacks towards the people of Dragon Palace. Bang, bang, bang. However, facing the attacks of the Dragon Palace's 24 God Emperor Realm experts, 4 of which were Second-Order God Emperor Realm experts, without the protection of the array formation, they were powerless to resist. The 2 Wind Divine Dragons locked onto the Sovereign and the Wizard. The other God Emperors of the Imperial Court and Chengwu Association were instantly suppressed. A divine wind dragon flapped its wings towards a Wu Mountain below it. The entire Sorcerer Mountain collapsed in an instant. The powerful cultivators of the Sorcerer Association were killed in an instant. An incomparably huge dragon claw swept past a Wu Mountain, and the entire mountain instantly crumbled into rubble. Everyone on it was easily killed. Lord Magus, we can't stop them. An Emperor God from the Sorcerer Association couldn't help but shout at the Sorcerer Association. Break the formation. Everyone, escape. When the wizard heard this, his heart tightened. He gritted his teeth and growled. Members in the rear, attack the formation and break it. The group of protectors immediately ordered the disciples loudly. The Wizard Association has been defeated. They are trying to escape. This isn't a battle of the same level at all. It's a one-sided massacre. The Wizard Association is finished this time. A force that has stood strong for 1 billion years is heading towards destruction. Divine Dragon, the Wizard Association has offended the wrong people. The heavenly witchcraft domain powerhouses hiding in the surrounding void were somewhat moved when they heard the order full of unwillingness. This was the strongest existence in their heavenly witch domain. Now, it was annihilated by the Dragon Palace. Trying to escape? Hee, it's too late. At this moment, Wang Xian, who was standing in front of the dragon throne, smirked when he saw this. The unbeginning saint wings appeared on his back as he squinted his eyes. Boom. In the next instant, their figures disappeared. At this moment, the Wu Mountain was filled with endless screams. Facing so many God Emperors from the Dragon Palace, they had no way of defending themselves. Just you wait, Dragon Palace. Just you wait, Chengwu Association. One day, we'll make you pay the price. Pay the price in blood. The sorcerer faced a wind divine dragon. His body trembled as he controlled the Purgatory World array diagram as he roared. His voice was filled with endless rage. His force was annihilated. The blood feud would not rest until one of them was dead. Sorcerer, you want to annihilate the Dragon Palace? You have a death wish. At this moment, a voice sounded in his ear. In an instant, the sorcerer's expression changed drastically as his forehead was covered in cold sweat. Oh no! His heart sank. Wang. In the next instant, the threat of death enveloped his entire body, causing his body to tighten. However, before he could do anything, he felt a sharp claw penetrating his body. Waves of destructive energy stirred in his body. The sorcerer's body stiffened completely. He widened his eyes and spun around in horror to see Wang Xian, who had appeared behind him. In case you have any trump cards to survive, soul assimilation. Wang Xian stared at the sorcerer with a smile. As the dragon claw stirred, a wave of energy spread towards the sorcerer's body. The sorcerer's life force was diminishing at a terrifying speed. Wang, how is this possible? Speed. His eyes widened and were filled with despair as he struggled to make a sound. His pupils slowly slackened. Waves of information entered Wang Xian's mind. Everything about the sorcerer and the secrets of the sorcerer were revealed. Lord Sorcerer. Oh no, Lord Sorcerer. The Dragon King killed our Lord Sorcerer. Trembling voices came from the surroundings as some experts and disciples of the Sorcerer Association shouted in horror. What? The Emperor of the Imperial Court turned around, and his expression changed drastically. Looking at the Dragon King behind the sorcerer, his eyes were filled with fear. The sorcerer was killed instantly by the Dragon King's sneak attack. We can't stay here. Run, run, run. The Emperor of the Imperial Court murmured as he panicked. Run, run. The Sovereign Lord retreated rapidly as he roared at another Emperor God from the Imperial Court. Arg. The Emperor of the Imperial Court retreated behind the disciples of the Sorcerer Association and dodged the attack of the Wind Divine Dragon. However, the disciples of the Sorcerer Association were hit, and a large number of them died instantly. Wong. At this moment, the Emperor of the Imperial Court could no longer care about the lives of others. His body trembled slightly as he disappeared gradually. Roar, roar. The Wind Divine Dragon roared furiously as several wind blades shrouded him. Countless wind blades fell on his position, but they couldn't stop him. The array set up by the Heaven Formation could only trap a First-Order God Emperor in the Void region. It was useless against a Rank 2 God Emperor. Emperor Lord. That Emperor God from the Imperial Court roared when he saw the Emperor Lord escaping. His figure turned illusory, but soon, his face turned pale and he revealed a look of despair. The sorcerer is dead, and the Emperor Lord has escaped. Chapter 2886. The starry sky shook on. The shaman is dead. The Emperor has escaped. A horrified voice resounded in the battlefield. What? The shaman is dead. The Emperor Court Emperor has escaped? No, no, no. This terrifying light is stopping me from escaping back to my god nation. I can't escape. It's over. Our shaman society is finished. Panic descended. The end of the shaman society had arrived. Everyone who received these two pieces of news broke down. The shaman was dead. The leader of the shaman society, the strongest expert of the shaman society, was dead. The Emperor Court Emperor, the leader of the Imperial Court, an expert who could rival the shaman, had escaped. He had escaped directly. What did this mean? It meant that the shaman society and the Imperial Court were completely defeated. Unexpectedly, they were doomed. Everyone's faces were filled with despair. What? The shaman was killed by the Dragon King. How is this possible? The Emperor Court Emperor has escaped. It's over. They are completely finished. How long has it been? Our Sky Shaman region shaman has been famous for more than 50 million years and has absolute control over our Sky Shaman region, but now he was killed by the Dragon Palace. The Dragon King's speed is so terrifying. I just saw the Dragon King sitting on the Dragon Throne. The Dragon King and the Dragon Palace are going to rule the entire Sky Shaman region. The Sky Shaman region experts hidden in the surrounding void were incomparably shocked. The strength displayed by the Dragon Palace shocked them, but they had always believed that even if the Shaman Society was defeated, they would not be defeated too thoroughly. They would never have thought that the shaman would actually fall here. This was the leader of the Shaman Society, with unimaginable means. To kill him was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Even with the Dragon Palace's powerful suppression power, it was hard to keep the shaman here, because this kind of existence had many means to preserve their lives. But they were completely wrong. The shaman was killed by the Dragon King. While it was a surprise attack, the shaman did not react and did not put up any resistance, which showed how powerful the Dragon King was. The shaman's death, the Emperor Court Emperor's escape, announced that this war was over. I can't escape. I can't instantly return to my god nation. The Sky Array God Emperor has sealed this space. It's over. It's over. No, no, no. A terrified voice rang out. All the experts and disciples of the Shaman Association and Imperial Court were on the verge of collapsing. Even the 6 Emperor gods turned pale as they tried to find a chance to escape. However, they were disheartened when they saw the divine wind dragons attacking them one by one. That terrifying Dragon Palace mystical dragon wasn't something they could withstand. Kill them. They invaded our Dragon Palace and wanted to destroy us. Leave no one alive. The 100,000 members of Dragon Palace who were below the level of Emperor God were filled with murderous intent as they charged forward. The eyes of Yaki Demon Shah and the others locked onto the peak divine kings of the Sorcerer Association. Their figures flickered as they killed them rapidly. The one-sided massacre had begun. The Witchcraft Association was much stronger than the Imperial Court. They had more than 50 peak God Kings. There were 3 to 409th Order God King realm experts. There were more than 1 million experts above the God King realm. Although their numbers were similar to the Imperial Dynasty, their overall strength was several times that of the Imperial Dynasty. However, against the attacks of the Emperor Gods from Dragon Palace, their numbers were decreasing rapidly. No, 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 I can't accept this. Not long after, an extremely shrill voice that was filled with unwillingness suddenly resounded. The members of the Witchcraft Association looked in the direction of the voice and trembled violently. A God Emperor powerhouse was killed. Boom, boom, boom. Arg. The death of an Emperor God seemed to have hastened the prelude to their demise. In less than 2 minutes, another 2 Emperor Gods let out a blood-curdling scream as their corpses slammed into a Magus mountain. Boom. Terrifying sounds of collision could be heard as their vitality faded away. Emperor Lord, Emperor Lord. The Emperor God from the Imperial Court lifted his head and bellowed in a low voice. Their Emperor Lord had already reminded him earlier. However, the creepy array had sealed the space around them. If they wanted to escape, they could only break through and fly out. However, they had no hope of breaking through from the 20-odd Emperor Gods. Death was slowly descending upon them. This feeling was enough to break an Emperor God's spirit. They didn't want to die. Hee. In the middle of the battlefield, Wang Xian carried the Emperor Lord's body and revealed a faint smile. He had guessed correctly. The sorcerer had a substitute puppet in his own holy kingdom. This was a treasure he had obtained from a secret realm. This substitute puppet was extremely powerful and could replace his death once. It could be said that this was a true life-saving measure. Summon your void holy kingdom. Wang Xian's voice exploded in the sorcerer's mind. The lifeless body of the sorcerer moved. In the sky above Wang Xian and him, an incomparably huge holy kingdom rose gradually. The holy kingdom spanned tens of thousands of kilometers and contained terrifying energy. Wang Xian moved, carried the sorcerer's body and flew towards his holy kingdom. What's this? The void holy kingdom of our Lord Sorcerer? Is our Lord Sorcerer still alive? Seeing the sudden appearance of the void holy kingdom, some experts and disciples of the Witchcraft Association were looking forward to it. However, the appearance of the Holy Kingdom didn't change their fates. We surrender. We surrender. Don't kill us. Don't. Don't kill us. We're willing to hand over all our treasures. Don't kill us. When celestial thearchs and divine kings fell one by one, the disciples of the Sorcerer Association, who were on the Wu Mountain behind them, knelt on the ground and shouted loudly. They were really afraid. They had lost all hope of victory. Kneeling down and begging for mercy, this was their last chance. Some of them knelt down and surrendered. More and more disciples of the Witchcraft Association begged for mercy. Don't spare the God King experts. Don't give them any chance. At this time, the heavenly array's eerie voice sounded. Kill all the God King experts. The rest of the disciples of the Witchcraft Association kneel down and beg for mercy. Prime Minister Turtle pondered for a moment before ordering loudly. Not a single deity king was spared. Whether it was the deity king's god nation or the deity king's body, they were all huge resources to the Dragon Palace. As for those below the god king level, they could spare them. After all, there were too many disciples of the Witchcraft Association. There were hundreds of billions of them. It was impossible to kill all of them. TSK, TSK, TSK. We've caught your precious disciple. Should we hand him over to you? At this time, Orochi's voice sounded. At the side, Roving Heavens and Aochi had completely bound the Emperor with blood-red chains. The 9 heads of the heavenly array looked over with cold, murderous intent in their eyes. Chapter 2887. The resplendent starry sky trembled in Master. No, no. Give me a chance. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. In the middle of the battlefield, the emperor screamed in horror. He was completely restrained by the chains. Seeing the murderous intent in Tianzhan's eyes, his body trembled violently and he begged for mercy. Just kill him directly. Let bygones be bygones. Tianzhan stared at the disciple that he had taught for thousands of years. He closed his eyes slowly and said to roving heavens and the rest, "Hee, you're too soft-hearted, old man. Let me torture him for you." Bachi laughed weirdly. In a flash, he came to the emperor's side. With a swing of his arm, he gave him a slap on the face. Deceiving your master and destroying your ancestors will cost you your soul. As Bachi spoke, he waved his arm and dark energy surged towards the emperor. Arg! A painful scream was heard. Tianzhan closed his eyes and didn't move at all. The scream added a sense of horror to the entire battlefield. Some experts from the Witch Alliance shivered when they heard the scream from their emperor god. What kind of pain could cause a god emperor to be in such a miserable state? Hee. Bachi screamed weirdly. Black flesh and blood gushed out from his arm and entered his body, torturing him continuously. Arg! The screams reverberated. Other than some God King experts who were still resisting, the rest of the people on the battlefield were kneeling on the ground. The screams entered their ears, causing their bodies to tremble uncontrollably. Prime Minister Turtle, it's done. In less than 5 minutes, all the God King experts of the Witch Alliance were killed. Roving Sword flew over and reported to Prime Minister Turtle with a smile. Roar, roar, roar. 9 wind divine dragons roared excitedly in the sky above the battlefield. Their voices echoed throughout the entire Wu Mountain. They cooperated with everyone kneeling on Wu Mountain. This meant that the era of the Witch Alliance had ended and a new era was about to begin. Bachi Devilish, your venom horn dragon species should have gotten some information. Take over this area and lead some members to collect all the treasures. The rest of the Dragon Palace disciples, clean up the battlefield. Prime Minister Turtle ordered immediately. Yes. The group of Dragon Palace disciples responded immediately. Buzz. At this time, Wang Xian walked out of the Void Holy Kingdom slowly and looked down. Roar. The 9 divine wind dragons let out a deep roar and flew towards Wang Xian, circling around him. Everyone's eyes were focused on the Dragon King in the sky. Their eyes were filled with awe and respect. In this battle, apart from the emperor of the imperial court who had escaped, everyone else was left behind. All those above the God King realm were killed. The destruction of the imperial court and the Shaman Association was single-handedly caused by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. They had annihilated the 2 great forces and killed the wizards of the Shaman Association. He led the Dragon Palace to rise in power in a short period of time. After today's battle, the Dragon Palace would shake the entire starry sky, destroying 2 great powers in one fell swoop, ending the era of 2 peak powers. This was terrifying to the extreme. I am the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. In the future, the Heavenly Witch Domain will be taken over by the Dragon Palace. Anyone who disobeys will be killed without mercy. Wang Xian stood high above and scanned the crowd below him, as well as every corner of the void around him. As his voice trailed off, a series of terrifying dragon roars shook the heavens and earth. It was a declaration of the Dragon Palace's position in this void. Pay your respects to the Dragon King. Imo Sha looked down at all the disciples of the Shaman Association in the imperial court kneeling on Wu Mountain and shouted sternly, "Greetings, Dragon King." On Wu Mountain, everyone's bodies trembled, and they immediately shouted out loud, "Greetings, Dragon King." Shouts after shouts reverberated throughout the area. The Dragon King has found us. With the strength of the Dragon King, he can naturally sense our presence. The Dragon Palace is taking over the Heavenly Witch Domain. With the terrifying strength of the Dragon Palace, surrender. The experts of the Heavenly Witch Domain hiding in the void immediately revealed themselves. The Heavenly Witch Domain was not unified by the Shaman Association, just like the Imperial Star Domain in the past. Other than the Heavenly Witch Domain, there were also a few great forces. Although they did not have emperor gods, they had many peak god kings. At this moment, After witnessing the terrifying strength of the Dragon Palace, they did not dare to take any chances. One by one, they revealed themselves. "Greetings, Dragon King." They stood in the void and knelt down on one knee towards the Dragon King to pay their respects. Wang Xian swept his gaze across them and nodded lightly. "Let's go to the center of the Shaman Association's Wu Mountain." He looked at the group of Dragon Palace members and flew towards the front of Wu Mountain. According to the information he received from Sorcerer, Wu Mountain was a huge treasure trove, a force that stood for 1,000,000,000 years, a nest that had been in operation for 1,000,000,000 years. Anything taken out from inside would be fought over by countless experts. It was no exaggeration to say that if all the treasures inside were exchanged for resources, the Dragon Palace could give birth to a dozen Emperor Gods. Secondly, he had obtained many treasures from the Void God Kingdom of the Sorcerer. The more precious ones were the substitute puppets, which could represent one's death. It was definitely a life-saving treasure. In addition, there were all kinds of treasures and secret manuals about witchcraft. It was a huge treasure trove. Apart from these, the Dragon Palace killed 7 Emperor Gods, including Sorcerer. Sorcerer was a second-order God Emperor, so the Dragon Palace could have one more second-order God Emperor expert. The remaining 6 corpses can increase by 6. As for the Void Kingdom, the Devouring Dragon can absorb the excess. As for the rest, the Dragon Palace can absorb them first. The Dragon Palace can absorb the 9 attributes of the Void Kingdom and reach level 8. Wang Xian murmured, his eyes shining brightly. The harvest this time would definitely be terrifying. The resources he had were only at the Emperor God level. There were more than 50 peak God King corpses and a large number of treasures in their God Kingdom. In short, the Dragon Palace's strength would be greatly enhanced this time. The resources here are enough for me to improve again. He squinted his eyes and was in a good mood. He moved and soon arrived at the center of Wu Mountain. His gaze swept across the center of the major forces, and a smile appeared on his face. The Dragon King and the rest have gone to the center of Wu Mountain. I'm afraid the entire heavenly witchcraft domain will be in an uproar. In less than half an hour, the Witchcraft Union was defeated. Sorcerer was killed by the Dragon King, and the Emperor of the Imperial Court fled in fear. Not only the Witchcraft Union, but the entire resplendent starry sky will be in an uproar soon. The Dragon Palace is going to shake the world. In the void, the experts of the heavenly witchcraft domain muttered as they watched the Dragon King leave. Chapter 2888. In just 2 minutes, the defense of the Witches' Association was breached by the Dragon Palace. The Dragon King attacked and killed the witches in a domineering manner. The Emperor of the Imperial Court fled in fear. In less than half an hour, all the Emperor Gods in the Shaman Assembly Imperial Court were killed. The rest of the disciples only survived because they surrendered. The strength of the Dragon Palace is simply invincible. Those 9 huge creatures are divine wind dragons. They are divine dragons. Real divine dragons, very terrifying. The Wizard Association has suffered a crushing defeat. In the future, the Dragon Palace will take over the heavenly wizard domain. All the experts of the forces hiding in the surroundings must show themselves and pledge allegiance to the Dragon King. The strength of the Dragon Palace is simply heaven-defying. It's too terrifying. The Wizard Association can't withstand it at all. Too strong. The Divine Dragon Roar. The Dragon King is invincible. Today, we, the ancient sorcerer sect, declare our allegiance to the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. In the future, the Dragon Palace will be our master, and the Dragon King will be our lord. The entire heavenly witchcraft domain was paying close attention to the Dragon Palace's invasion of the heavenly witchcraft domain. However, to everyone in the heavenly witchcraft region's disbelief, less than half an hour after the Dragon Palace arrived at Wu Mountain, they received a series of messages. In particular, when the ancient witchcraft sect directly issued a statement on the communication network, the entire heavenly witchcraft domain was dumbfounded. Everyone's jaws dropped as they read the information about Mount Wu. Their faces were filled with disbelief. The warlock was dead, killed by the Dragon King. All the experts above the God King level of the Shaman Association were dead. Not a single one was left alive. As for disciples below the God King realm, the Dragon Palace did not kill too many of them and let them go. Otherwise, the entire Sorcerer Association would be wiped out by the Dragon Palace. Only the Emperor Lord of the Imperial Court managed to escape. The other God Emperors had all perished. Within a day, all 6 Emperor Gods of the Witchcraft Association had been killed. None of them had managed to escape. A God Emperor from the Imperial Dynasty was easily killed. Everyone in the Heavenly Witchcraft region widened their eyes in disbelief when they read the news. In the past, the Witchcraft Society was very strong, but many sects in the Heavenly Witchcraft domain did not surrender. But now, they have directly announced their allegiance to the Dragon Palace. How strong is the Dragon Palace? I'm almost 100% sure that there are divine dragons in the Dragon Palace. Real divine dragons? In the communication network of the Heavenly Witchcraft domain, countless people were discussing. However, 3 hours later, everyone received a message in the communication network. Anyone who possessed a communication stone plate would receive this message. From today onwards, the Dragon Palace will take over the Heavenly Witchcraft region. In the future, the entire Heavenly Witchcraft region will be ruled by the Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace will establish a new order based on the Imperial Star region. In addition, the Heavenly Witchcraft region and the Imperial Star region will soon be able to communicate with each other. This message announced that the Dragon Palace would completely control the entire Heavenly Witch domain. Everyone in the Heavenly Witchcraft region trembled slightly when they saw this message. The Dragon Palace wants to connect the 2 domains and control our Heavenly Witch domain. Is the Dragon King going to re-establish the order of our Heavenly Witchcraft domain? Are you going to provoke a lot of people and forces? Provoke many people and forces? Even the Wizard Association was destroyed within half an hour. The rest of the forces are just small fries in the eyes of the Dragon Palace. Didn't you see that the rest of the forces have already declared their allegiance? This piece of news caused an uproar in the entire Heavenly Witchcraft domain. But soon, all the people in the Heavenly Witchcraft territory found that the forces that could be called out in the Heavenly Witchcraft territory once again issued a statement on the communication network. Obey the Dragon King's orders. Obey the Dragon Palace's orders unconditionally. Seeing how all the forces cooperated so respectfully, everyone knew that the sky in the Heavenly Witchcraft domain had changed. From the side, they could also feel the terror of the Dragon Palace. Dragon King, all the treasures have been collected. The god nations of the god emperors have also been found. At the same time, on the highest peak of Wu Mountain, Tan Zhen came to Wang Xian with a beaming face and reported, "Great! Move an ocean to Wu Mountain, and we will build a dragon palace here." Wang Xian said to Tianjun, "Yes, I know there's an ocean nearby." Tianjun nodded immediately. Dragon Palace, the resources and treasures we've obtained this time can increase the number of God Emperors by at least 25, doubling the number. In addition, we can add a second-order God Emperor expert. Prime Minister Turtle exclaimed excitedly from the side, "Bring those void god kingdoms over, and let the Dragon Palace absorb them." In addition, after we build the Dragon Palace here, we need to carry out a thorough reform of the Heavenly Witchcraft domain. Send the experts of the Dragon Palace to kill all those vicious people. Leave the management to Qingyue and Fengyuan. Wang Xian instructed Prime Minister Turtle. "Yes, Dragon King. I will assist the Dragon Queens to take control of the entire Heavenly Witchcraft domain as soon as possible." Prime Minister Turtle nodded. "When the time comes, we can get the 9 Wind Divine Dragons to work together. It will be faster." Wang Xian chuckled and said, "Yes, Dragon King." Prime Minister Turtle replied. The Heavenly Witchcraft domain was different from the Imperial Star domain. This star domain was chaotic and could not be compared to the Imperial Star domain, let alone the Sacred region. Although it was not like the Tianfa Ancient Heaven region, it was filled with killings. There were many human experiments, killing people to refine treasures, and many more. Since the Dragon Palace wanted to take over this star domain, it had to be reorganized. As for whether anyone resisted, they would be killed. Given the strength of the Dragon Palace, it was too easy to get rid of them. With Tianjun and the Wind Divine Dragons around, they could not escape even if they wanted to. After taking control of 2 domains, the speed of improvement of the Dragon Palace will be even more terrifying. Wang Xian murmured with a smile on his face. After killing more than 1,000,000 Emperor gods from the Witch Alliance, the strength of the ordinary members of the Dragon Palace would be greatly improved. At the very least, the strength of the weakest members of the Dragon Palace would reach the 4th or 5th order Immortal God King realm. I wonder how 8 Desolation and 6 Directions would react if they knew about the situation here. Wang Xian's lips curved as he looked down at the mountains and rivers. Next, a huge ocean was quickly transported over by the 9 divine dragons and the Tianzhan. The huge ocean was transported over hundreds of millions of miles, causing a huge commotion in the heavenly witchcraft domain. Such mighty power was terrifying. Wang. The ocean was carried to a part of Mount Wu and landed in the middle of the mountain. Wang Xian immediately established a dragon palace and established a connection with the dragon palace in the Imperial Star Domain. Xiao Xian, heavenly witchcraft domain has been conquered? The girls received the message and immediately teleported over to ask Wang Xian. Yeah. Wang Xian nodded with a smile on his face. Next, you can expand the Dragon and Phoenix God Dynasty to the heavenly witchcraft domain and take control of this place. However, it might take some time. It's more troublesome than the Imperial Star Domain. Chapter 2889. Prestige of Dragon Palace 1 inch. The Dragon Phoenix God Dynasty, which is in charge of the Imperial Star Domain, will take over the Heavenly Witchcraft Domain, while the Dragon Palace will guard Mount Wu. The founders of the Dragon Phoenix God Dynasty were the Dragon Queens of the Dragon Palace. In 7 days, the Imperial Star Region's AI will be connected to the Heavenly Witch Region's communication network. At that time, the Heavenly Witch Region will know everything that happens in the Imperial Star Region, and vice versa. The ancient Magi and other large sects have gone to Mount Wu to pay their respects. Now that there are very few people on Mount Wu, the Dragon Phoenix God Dynasty's Empress has announced that talented people can settle down on Mount Wu. According to the investigation of the experts of the Dragon Palace, the evil sect has committed all kinds of evil deeds in the Heavenly Witchcraft Domain. Now the Empress of the Dragon Phoenix God Dynasty has given the order to destroy it. The 9 divine dragons and a total of 12 emperor gods, including the heavenly array, have taken action. None of the evil sect members will be spared. Order is about to be established in the heavenly wizard region, a peaceful world. Over the next few days, major events took place on the communication network in the heavenly witchcraft territory. Every matter was earth-shaking to the entire heavenly witch domain. The establishment of the Dragon Phoenix God Dynasty, the interconnection of communication and teleportation arrays, and the acceptance of talented people in Mount Wu. There was also one thing that stirred the heavenly witchcraft domain the most. The Dragon Palace and the Dragon Phoenix God Dynasty were going to get rid of the evildoers. The Evil Stream sect was also a powerful force with an illustrious reputation in the heavenly witch domain. They controlled dozens of planets and practiced slavery. They treated hundreds of millions of people as cattle and horses, slaughtered them at will, and refined magic tools. In the end, the Dragon Palace sent 12 emperor gods to wipe them out. That was 12 god emperors. The evil sects did not have a single god emperor, but the Dragon Palace had sent 10 god emperors. It was especially so for the 9 divine dragons, which exuded a despairing aura. Those 2 heavenly divine dragons roared. Not a single disciple of the evil great sect was left alive. They all died under great pain. From the patriarch to the servant disciples, not a single one of them was left alive. Moreover, the 2 god emperors of the Dragon Palace tortured everyone from the evil sect for more than 10 hours before killing them. The entire heavenly witchcraft domain was in an uproar, and most people applauded. Some people who practiced evil sorcery turned pale. They either turned over a new leaf or fled the heavenly sorcery domain. The aggressive actions of the Dragon Palace also made everyone realize that the rules of the heavenly witch territory had changed. The Great Reform began. In less than a month, the heavenly witchcraft domain had undergone tremendous changes. Is the information confirmed? At this moment, in the sacred tower of the Holy Region's holy nation, the sacred master looked at Hong Fengyan and asked in shock, "I'm sure." The Saint Lord should have received the news from our scouts. There shouldn't be any discrepancies. Hong Fengyan said with a faint smile. Sorcerers were killed. None of the heavenly witchcraft domain's emperor gods escaped. All the divine king experts were killed. Hiss, the strength of this dragon palace is too terrifying. It's more than terrifying. Many people in the heavenly witchcraft region are now certain that those 9 creatures are real divine dragons. The legendary wind divine dragons are existences that stand at the peak of the universe. At the side, the 2 sacred region emperor gods exclaimed in shock. The Witchcraft Association is much more powerful than our sanctuary. As far as I know, the Dragon Palace broke through the Witchcraft Association's defense in less than 2 minutes. That wizard was instantly killed by the Dragon King. Only the Sovereign Lord was prepared in advance and escaped. Hong Fengyan continued, with the terrifying speed of the Dragon King. He is indeed capable of killing the wizard from the Witchcraft Association in a surprise attack. Dragon Palace, Dragon King, Divine Dragon. Xiaoyan, interact with the Dragon King in the future. With the current strength of the Dragon Palace, they are qualified to fight for the first place in the bedazzling star region. The Sacred Master's eyes twinkled as he said, to be able to destroy 2 of the 7 major forces in the bedazzling star region single-handedly, the strength of the Dragon Palace had far surpassed the Sanctuary region. In fact, the Sanctuary region might not even last a minute against the Dragon Palace. This matter might not have spread to the other star regions yet. Why don't we light a fire to spread the news faster? Hong Fengyan asked the Sacred Master with a smile. Hee, after all, we have a good relationship with the Dragon Palace. Let's congratulate them on our artificial intelligence system. The Sacred Master chuckled. He had seen the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace before. Because of Hong Fengyan, the Sanctuary region and the Dragon Palace would become good friends. This was enough for the Sanctuary region. Hong, look at the message on the artificial intelligence system. Congratulations to the Dragon Palace for unifying the heavenly witchcraft region and killing the enemy. Gosh, what does this mean? The Dragon Palace destroyed the Witchcraft Association? They destroyed the Imperial Court? How long has it been since the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace left the Sanctuary region? They actually destroyed the Witchcraft Association, the Imperial Court, and swept across a region. The strength of the Dragon Palace is too terrifying. They are simply nature-defying. Soon, the entire Sanctuary region was in an uproar after the congratulatory statement from the Sanctuary region was released. This was truly sweeping through an entire region, truly annihilating a powerful force of a region. 5 years ago, the battle for the rise of the Dragon Palace was fought within the Imperial Star region. Moreover, they didn't destroy the Imperial Court and didn't cause much of a commotion. But now, they were truly sweeping across a region, destroying the other party in a cross-region war and taking over a large region. Incomparably terrifying. This caused everyone in the sanctuary to involuntarily suck in a breath of cold air. The Witchcraft Association and the Imperial Court have been destroyed. I wonder how the 8 Desolation will react? At this moment, some people thought of the 8 Desolation. Not long ago, the 8 Desolation and the Imperial Court Emperor God had jointly headed to the Sanctuary region to warn their Emperor God Hong Feng not to interfere with the matters between them and the Dragon Palace. In the end, the Witchcraft Association and the Imperial Court were destroyed by the Dragon Palace. What about the 8 Desolation? If the 8 Desolation were to learn of this news, they would probably piss their pants. At the thought of this, everyone in the sacred region was gloating. Next, let's see how arrogant you can be. The announcement from the sanctuary accelerated the spread of the news that the Dragon Palace had destroyed the Witchcraft Association and the Imperial Court. Among the 7 major regions, 3 of them were in an uproar, and the news spread to the surrounding star regions, especially the 8 Desolation and 6 Directions. The 8 Desolation and 6 Directions didn't belong to the same star region. It was a place where experts from various regions wanted to make breakthroughs and search for treasures. Hence, the people in the 8 Desolation and 6 Directions came from various star regions and received news from various star regions in a timely manner. But today, a piece of news silenced the entire 8 Desolation and 6 Directions. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace led the Divine Dragons to attack the heavenly witchcraft region and destroyed the Witchcraft Association and the Imperial Court. The Emperor God of the Witchcraft Association and the witches were all killed. The Emperor God of the Imperial Court fled. When this news spread on the communication network of the 8 Desolation in 6 directions and was confirmed by many people, the atmosphere in the entire 8 Desolation in 6 directions became a little strange, especially to the disciples of the 8 Desolation. Not long ago, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace killed the Wind God of the 8 Desolation, and the 8 Desolation ordered the Dragon Palace to give an explanation or else they would pay a heavy price. After the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace left, he announced that the members of the Dragon Palace would be killed if they came to the 8 Desolation and 6 directions. Moreover, they collaborated with the Witchcraft Association and the Imperial Court to destroy the Dragon Palace. But now, Chapter 2890. Prestige of Dragon Palace 2-inch. All the God Kings of the Shaman Association were killed. Not a single one was spared. However, the Dragon Palace did not kill the experts below the God King realm. I would like to ask the experts of the 8 Desolates, are you panicking? Are you guys panicking? At this moment, in the communication network of Desolation and 6 directions, a message came from a slightly well-known person in Desolation and 6 directions. And that person was invincible in battle. Through a special method, Invincible Warrior allowed his underlings to log into his communication network and post this message. His slightly joking words attracted the attention of many people from all over the place. Are you panicking? How could they not panic? Not long ago, they had allied with the Witch Association and the Imperial Court. In just 2 months, the Witch Association and the Imperial Court had been destroyed by the Dragon Palace. Furthermore, it was easily annihilated. He had swept across a region and destroyed 2 peak forces. The 9-wind divine dragons roared in the starry sky, shaking the world. The experts of Ba Huang paled when they heard the news. This was a matter of life and death. The 8 Desolations were very strong, but they were definitely not as strong as the combined strength of the Imperial Court and the Witchcraft Society. This was especially true for the Witchcraft Association. After they set up their defenses, the 8 Desolates could not even break through their defenses one-on-one. But now, they were all annihilated, except for those released by the Dragon Palace. Even a Magus was killed. Sorcerers were the pinnacle existences among the Emperor Gods in the resplendent starry sky. There were no more than 3 people in the entire bedazzling starry sky who were stronger than wizards. Even God Emperor Desolation of the 8 Desolations was not a match for the sorcerers. Do you think the Dragon King will lead the experts of the Dragon Palace to attack us? At this moment, someone asked. All the experts and disciples of Ba Huang paled when they saw the question. Currently, there was a strange commotion in the Universal Communication Network. The disciples who weren't from 8 Desolation were all extremely shocked, and all sorts of replies and comments were made. But the disciples of the 8 Desolations felt their scalps go numb when they saw the questions. They chose to remain silent. As a result, the number of people who commented on this shocking matter was very few. The atmosphere was slightly strange. Not only in the communication network, but in reality, the atmosphere was also very strange. Some of the 8 Desolation disciples looked embarrassed and hurried away. There were also many people who looked worried. They were really scared now. He was afraid that the Dragon Palace's Dragon King would lead experts to attack. At that time, what could they do? Surrender or flee? As for resistance, none of the disciples and experts of Ba Huang thought that they were a match for the Dragon Palace. Emperor God Desolation, the information that we received from the communication network is true. Moreover, I received news from the Holy Region that Emperor God Shan Wu of the Imperial Court and our Emperor God San Yin were killed by the Dragon King in an instant. While the entire 8 Desolation was shaking, all the God Emperors of 8 Desolation gathered in the main hall of 8 Desolation Planet. Dozens of Octaterra protectors stood in front of them. The leading elder reported with an incomparably ugly expression. The atmosphere was heavy, and everyone's expressions were not good. Even Emperor God Desolation, who was sitting at the front, had a gloomy expression. The information circulating on the communication network in the past 2 days was an impending disaster for them. The other God Emperors leaned on their thrones, their expressions changing. For a moment, the entire hall seemed to freeze. The strength displayed by the Dragon Palace made them feel despair. If they attacked, the 8 Desolates would not be a match for the Dragon Palace. They did not know how many people would die. Once the Dragon Palace organized in advance, they could even wipe them all out. Hong. Just as the entire hall was abnormally silent, a terrifying aura charged towards them. Who is it? Courting death. How dare you barge into the 8 Desolates? Suddenly, the God Emperors in the hall seemed to have been ignited. They stood up and their expressions were filled with violence. Virum. Everyone from the 8 Desolates. Just then, a voice was heard. Emperor God Desolation stared at the figure in front of him, his eyes beaming with coldness. Huh. When they saw the figure, everyone's expression changed. Emperor Lord of the Imperial Court? Emperor God Desolation looked at the elder who was holding the scepter of light. He was shocked and asked, "Just a stray dog." The Emperor Lord held the scepter of light in his hand tightly and said expressionlessly, "I wonder what the Emperor Lord is here for?" Emperor God Desolation stared at him, and his expression changed. The Witchcraft Association was destroyed, and all the God Emperors died. "I am the only one who escaped," the Emperor Lord said solemnly, lifted his head slightly and closed his eyes. "Is the divine dragon of the Dragon Palace real?" Emperor God Desolation gritted his teeth and asked the Emperor Lord, "Yes, it's exactly the same as the Wind Divine Dragon in the records." "A real divine dragon," the Emperor Lord replied. "Essence." The group of protectors and Emperor gods in the hall could not help but gasp in astonishment. "So what's the Emperor Lord here for?" Emperor God Desolation clenched his fist and asked, "I'm here to tell you guys to be prepared to escape and find a chance to take revenge." Emperor God Desolation opened his bloodshot eyes and looked a little miserable. Everyone in the hall looked at the tired Emperor Lord and felt their hearts skip a beat. This was the leader of a pinnacle force that once ruled a region. Now, he was in such a pathetic state. "Emperor Lord, please stay here for the time being. We have been in the 8 Desolates for hundreds of millions of years. We have a secret base in the depths. Even if the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace were to come, he wouldn't be in danger." Emperor God Desolation said to him slowly. "All right." The Emperor Lord nodded. He looked across the 8 Desolates God Emperors and fixed his eyes on Emperor God Desolation. "The Dragon Palace is very strong. Even the inheritance formation of the Witch Alliance couldn't hold them off for 2 minutes. The Sky Array God Emperor specializes in all kinds of formations. If the Dragon Palace were to come, we have to find a safe place. Otherwise, everyone will be dead." He reminded, "Don't worry. Even the strongest sorcerer wouldn't be able to find that place in the 8 Desolates." Emperor God Desolation said. At the same time, he was shocked. What kind of power could make the Emperor Lord of the Imperial Court so fearful? How strong was the Dragon Palace? Time passed, and the 8 Desolates remained silent. At this moment, what else could they do but to remain silent? Clamoring would just be a joke. Everyone could tell that the 8 Desolates was far from the Dragon Palace. However, the news of the Dragon Palace sweeping across the heaven-witch region and wiping out the Witch Alliance and the Imperial Court had spread to other regions. Unlike the 8 Desolates and the Holy Region, they were most concerned about the Divine Dragon of the Dragon Palace. Was the Divine Dragon a real Divine Dragon? Was it the legendary Divine Dragon at the pinnacle of the universe? End of chapter. Chapter 2891. Prestige of Dragon Palace 3-Colored Glaze region was also known as the #1 human region. It was also the most powerful region among the humans. The entire Colored Glaze region had more than 30 God Emperors. The strongest force in the Colored Glaze region had more than 20 God Emperors. Resplendent and glorious. That was the best way to describe the Colored Glaze region. The strength of the Colored Glaze region was related to the 2 regions that bordered it. One was the Demon region and the other was the Mechanic Emperor region. The Demon region wasn't inhabited by humans, but by demons and monsters. The Mechanic Emperor region was inhabited by robots. These 2 regions were enemies to humans. The Colored Glaze region often clashed with them. Only in the midst of battle and slaughter could the strong become stronger? With the foundation of the colored glaze region and the constant battles, the colored glaze region had many strong warriors. Is the news true? The Dragon Palace really has a purebred wind divine dragon? Located in the center of the colored glaze region, the strongest force was also known as the number 1 colored glaze region. In a large hall, a few old men sat. An old man asked in surprise, "The news is true. There are pictures. Even if it isn't a purebred wind divine dragon, it must be a powerful dragon with unlimited potential." A middle-aged man answered, "A divine dragon? I didn't expect a divine dragon to appear in our region." An old man sighed. "What about the Dragon Palace?" The old man in the center asked with twinkling eyes. "According to the news we received, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace basically doesn't care about anything. It's his woman who manages the region. All in all, he's a wise ruler. The Imperial Star region is very peaceful now." The middle-aged man continued to report, "That's good. We can't allow more evil lords to appear. It's good that the Shaman Association was destroyed." The few old men nodded. "Old ancestor, is there some trouble in the demon region?" The middle-aged man asked with a frown. "Some of the demons and monsters that were summoned out have returned." The old man in the center said with a serious expression, "What? They're all back? Those demons that were summoned out, why are they all back?" The middle-aged man couldn't help but exclaim. The few old men shook their heads with grave expressions on their faces. Mechanic Emperor region. Lord Creator, we use technology to connect to their artificial intelligence in the Imperial Star region and found pictures of the divine dragons. According to our analysis, there is an 83% chance that the 9 divine dragons are pure wind divine dragons. In the technologically advanced Mechanic Emperor region, various spaceships flew around a metal planet. At the center of the planet, a golden figure sat high up on a throne. At the front, a dozen or so silver-colored robots with wings knelt in front and reported respectfully, "I already know. You can leave now." An emotionless mechanical voice came from Huang Jinhuang's mouth. He was the creator of the Mechanic Emperor domain, the ruler of all the robots. The robots had their own intelligence and had powerful abilities. However, they did not have the ability to reproduce. The birth of robots relied on energy and metal. All the robots that were born had to obey the orders of the Creator 100%. The Creator could kill a robot with a single thought. Divine Dragon. That's a race that stands at the pinnacle of the universe. I really want to get a divine dragon for research. It's a pity that the Dragon Palace has already matured. Lines of information flashed in the golden figure's eyes. He sat on the throne and murmured, "Roar, roar." In the incomparably dark starry sky, countless ferocious monsters roared as they rampaged through the void. In this deep void, there were countless terrifying devil's dens. Each devil's den was so deep that one couldn't see the bottom. These devil's lairs seemed to lead to another world. This was the Chime region. If Wang Xian was here, he would recognize these creatures. Demons. At this moment, in the center of the Chime region, a large number of demons flew out of the devil's lairs. They reeked of blood. God knew how many creatures they had killed. Wang Xian was unaware of the commotion in the outside world. After more than a month, the matters in the heavenly witchcraft domain were basically settled. After building the Dragon Palace on some key planets in the heavenly witchcraft domain, he was done. The members of the Dragon Palace who had been busy for a month had basically returned. Today, in the Dragon King Hall of the Dragon Palace, Wang Xian and I are holding a banquet to celebrate the victory, to celebrate the control of the heavenly witchcraft domain. Dragon King, the heavenly witchcraft domain has basically been stabilized. Next, the members of the Dragon Palace will be greatly improved. Prime Minister Turtle sat on the right side of the main seat. Beside him were the Emperor God-level leaders of the Dragon Palace. Next, all of you will enter the Dragon Transformation Pool to improve your strength. You guys have worked hard during this period. Wang Xian nodded his head, raised his glass with a smile, and gestured to them. Serving the Dragon King and the Dragon Palace is what we, the officials, should do. The group of Dragon Palace leaders and experts responded with joy on their faces. Old Wang, we have been in seclusion for a few years. In the end, we might as well enter the dragon transformation pool to improve ourselves. No, we have to improve our strength quickly and go out to play. We have not gone out to play since we came to the resplendent starry sky. On the left side, a group of girls sat there. Hua-er, Kai-er, and the rest had been cultivating in seclusion ever since they came here. Now, they had the strength of an 8th order god lord. However, they were the weakest in the dragon palace. Good. This time, all of you will enter the dragon transformation pool and improve to the peak of the God King realm. Wang Xian smiled and swept his gaze across them. His younger sister, Xiaoyu, brother-in-law, Fengling Tian, a group of girls, Hua-er, Kai-er, and his disciples, Xiaoran and Beishuang. Only Lingxiu was not around. He had sent Tianjun and the rest to search for her for a long time, but to no avail. Everything would be perfect once they found Lingxiu. After 3 rounds of wine and 5 rounds of dishes, after having dinner with the group of Dragon Palace leaders and chatting with the girls, Wang Xian came to the Dragon Transformation Pool. At this moment, the Dragon Transformation Pool was filled with dragon blood. The dazzling dragon blood exuded a vast amount of energy. The disciples of the Dragon Palace were improving their strength in the pool. Tianjun was also sitting in the middle, looking at the various secret manuals about witchcraft that he had obtained from the Witch Association's treasure vault while absorbing the dragon blood. The energy from the corpse of a sorcerer was enough to restore him to his peak and even surpass his peak state. The upper limit of the witch dragon was very high. Currently, he could only fight 2 levels above him. When he mastered more arrays and witchcraft skills, he could fight 3 levels above him. According to Tianjun, the possibility of this was very high. According to his own guess, he might be able to reach a new height this time. It's time for me to improve myself. I have enough resources. Wang Xian looked at the treasures in the space ring and revealed a smile. Chapter 2892. Prestige of Dragon Palace for this time. The Dragon Palace's harvest was much greater than the previous Imperial Court battle. The last time they attacked the Imperial Dynasty, they fled and took all their treasures. This time around, the entire Witchcraft Association was annihilated. All the God Emperors and more than 1 million God King experts were killed. Over the past month, the Dragon Palace had found the Void Divine Kingdoms of all the God King experts of the Witch Association and obtained a large number of treasures from them. There were all kinds of pills, all kinds of divine grass and divine trees. After all, this was the accumulation of more than 1 million experts. These God Kingdoms were all given to the Devouring Dragon and the others. With so many undying God nations, Aosia was prepared to give birth to more Devouring Dragons, increasing the number of Devouring Dragons to 1 million. These undying God Kingdoms were enough for all the Devouring Dragons to reach the Undying God King level. At the same time, all the members of the Devouring Dragon's battle prowess had reached the 4th Order Immortal God King realm. Few upgrade. He took a deep breath and immediately turned into a divine dragon. Large amounts of medicinal pills and divine herbs were poured into his mouth. All sorts of resources were converted into dragon energy. 2 days later, Wang Xian's body trembled slightly. Ka. His body, which was already more than 20,000 meters long, grew once again, and slowly grew to 30,000 meters. 8 rays of light flickered on his dragon scales, looking somewhat dazzling from afar. Wang Xian, who had evolved once again, was a little hard to look at. An existence that could not be looked at directly. Ding! Congratulations to host for leveling up to 7th Order Immortal God King. Name: Wang Xian. Race: Yin Yang 5 Elements Dragon, 1 with the Dragon. Rank: 7th Order Immortal God King. 7th Transformation of Divine Dragon Transformation. Origin Source: 2123960/50000000000 Magic. Dominate the aquatic creatures. Dominate any aquatic creatures lower than your own level. Devour living things. Devour living things to extract the source. Control of the 5 elements cultivation technique. Divine Dragon Transformation Divine Abilities. Soul Capture. Spirit Attachment. Yin Yang. 5 elements Dragon Eyes. Dharma Form. 5 elements Grindstone. Dragon Country in the Palm. Dragon Head Descending. 10,000 Mile Dragon Body. Yin Yang Polarity. Yin Yang 5 Elemental Bowl, Divine Dragon Tail Whip, Substantive Law, Metal, Wood, Water, Fire, Earth, Light, and Darkness, Tier 7, Divine Kingdom, Dragon Palace, Own Dragon Palace, Level 7, Dragon Palace Members, 1022450. The voice of the system sounded. Looking at the attributes in his head, Wang Xian revealed a smile. 7th Order Immortal God King Realm Strength, 3rd Order God Emperor Realm Combat Power. With the power of the Peerless Sacred Wings, he could instantly kill a 3rd Order God Emperor Realm Expert. I wonder if I'm invincible in this resplendent starry sky. Wang Xian could feel the energy flowing through his body and revealed a smile. He moved and transformed into his human form. The 8 rays of light on his body were still dazzling. His body retracted, and all the light disappeared. He used his mind to sense the location of the dragon transformation pool. All the members of the Dragon Palace were still increasing their strength. Next, let's upgrade the 5 Elements Grindstone. With a flick of his palm, the 5 Elements Grindstone appeared. Currently, the 5 Elements Grindstone was still a treasure equivalent to a Pinnacle Godly King. However, a Pinnacle Godly King was no longer sufficient for Wang Xian. As his first divine equipment, and also the one he was most comfortable with, Wang Xian was prepared to continue upgrading it. The 5 Elements Grindstone could absorb materials of the 5 attributes of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. This time, he had obtained a large amount of materials from the Witchcraft Association, of which there were quite a few 2nd Order Void God Emperor materials. He took out the 5 Elements Grindstone, and the 5 divine dragons on it let out a soft roar. Within the 5 Elements Grindstone, there were 5 doppelgangers of Wang Xian. It was a pity that the Earth Dragon doppelganger was missing, and Wang Xian had replaced it with the Light Element doppelganger. This greatly reduced the strength of the 5 Elements Grindstone. However, there was no other way. Wang Xian took out the materials one by one and placed them on the 5 Elements Grindstone. The 5 Elements Grindstone began to operate, grinding the materials into pieces and absorbing them. Wang Xian continued to infuse dragon energy into it, nurturing it. As the days passed, the 5 Elements Grindstone was also improving rapidly. 2 months later, the Heavenly Witchcraft Domain had completely stabilized. Some people from the Imperial Star Domain even came over for sightseeing. The Dragon Palace controlled important resources for the communication between the 2 domains. These resources could increase the number of God King Realm experts in the Dragon Palace by a few thousand. If all of these resources were used on a member of the Dragon Palace, a God Realm expert could be upgraded to the 5th Order Undying God King Realm. Of course, the Dragon Palace no longer had any God Realm experts. The weakest among them had reached the 5th Order Undying God King Realm. There were over 1 million members in the Dragon Palace, and the weakest among them was a 5th Order Undying God King Realm expert. In addition, the number of devouring dragons had increased to 1 million in the past 2 months, and the weakest among them was a 4th Order Undying God King Realm expert. This meant that the Dragon Palace had 2 million members, and the weakest among them was a 4th Order Undying God King Realm expert. That was terrifying. Wang Xian was confident that the Dragon Palace's army could even sweep the Colored Glaze domain. Ha ha ha, one more step, one more step. I've finally become a minor magus. An excited voice came from the dragon transformation pool. Oh! Wang Xian heard the voice and moved to the front of the dragon transformation pool. In front of him, the heavenly array stood in the middle with an excited look on his face. At this moment, it wasn't just one heavenly array, but 9. Each of the 9 heavenly arrays exuded the aura of a 2nd Order God Emperor. Each heavenly array represented a different attribute. Dragon King. Seeing Wang Xian's arrival, the Dragon King revealed a smile. He moved, and the 9 heavenly arrays merged into one. It was a 9-colored dragon head, and its body was similar to a human's. Although it still looked a little strange, it was much better than the previous feeling of strangeness. How's your strength now? Wang Xian looked at him and asked with a smile. Dragon King, I'm much stronger than when I was at my peak. I've obtained a huge amount of knowledge regarding witchcraft. Now, I can fight against 3rd Order God Emperors. Heavenly Array grinned and said excitedly. Very good. Wang Xian also revealed a smile. With Heavenly Array's breakthrough, the Dragon Palace now had 2 third-order God Emperors. The rest have broken through, right? Wang Xian asked Heavenly Array. The rest of the Dragon Palace members have broken through. Currently, our Dragon Palace has 51 God Emperors. Haha, Dragon King. 51 God Emperors in the entire resplendent starry sky. Who else but our Dragon Palace can do it? Heavenly Array laughed heartily, and his face was filled with pride. 51st. Wang Xian muttered as he flew towards the Dragon King Hall. 51st, including himself. Even so, this was a huge number in the entire resplendent starry sky. 2 third-order God Emperors, 4 second-order God Emperors, and 45 first-order God Emperors. If other superpowers were to know of this, they would definitely be shocked. I'll make a trip to the 8 Desolations tomorrow. I wonder if it's still there. If it's still there, I'll be able to obtain more resources. Wang Xian made up his mind with a smile on his face. Chapter 2893. Might of the Dragon Palace 5-inch Boss Wang. Bring me along. Bring me along. The next morning, Wang Xian, Sky Formation, and the 9 Wind Divine Dragons were ready to make a trip to the 8 Directions Desolation. This time, even if the experts from the 8 Directions Desolation were still there, it would be sufficient for them to head over. When Invincible received the news, he immediately flew over and pleaded with Wang Xian. What are you going there for? To see your girlfriend? Wang Xian looked at him and asked teasingly, Hee, although we're not sure about our relationship, we're close. Invincible chuckled. Let's go. Wang Xian nodded and stepped into the teleportation formation. Invincible followed closely behind. The 9 Wind Divine Dragons and Sky Formation followed suit immediately. Wang. When they appeared again, they were at the border of the sacred region, close to Tian Fa Ancient Heaven region. Let's go. The 9 Wind Divine Dragons shifted and transformed into their divine dragon forms. Roar. Roar. Deep roars sounded as the 9 Wind Divine Dragons soared into the sky. A dragon sedan appeared beside Wang Xian. Wang Xian moved and stood on top of it. Divine dragons pulling the sedan. Invincible warrior's eyes lit up with excitement. Brat, stand aside. Sky Formation said to Invincible. All right, I know. Invincible smiled and nodded. With the divine dragons pulling the sedan, he naturally couldn't sit in it. Disregarding whether the Dragon King would agree, the 9 Wind Divine Dragons also had their pride. As the exclusive ride of the Dragon King, other than the Dragon King, even the Dragon Queen would have to inform the Dragon King in advance if they wanted to ride. The pride of the Divine Dragons was still there. Invincible also knew that with his lousy second-order God Emperor strength, it was already good enough for the Divine Dragons in the universe to carry him. He stood in front of the dragon sedan with his head held high and chest out, scanning the surroundings. The few divine dragons let out roars and flew towards the 8 Directions Desolation at a terrifying speed. Those are 9 divine dragons. The Dragon King is coming. Where are they going? The 8 Directions Desolation? Are they going to destroy the 8 Directions Desolation? 9 divine dragons pulling a dragon palanquin. Hiss, the Dragon King should be out on patrol. On a planet not far away, a group of sanctuary powerhouses and disciples looked in the direction of the dragon roar in shock and guessed doubtfully, what a terrifying speed. But in the blink of an eye, the 9 dragons pulled the dragon palanquin and disappeared from their line of sight. Very soon, the news of 9 divine dragons pulling the dragon palanquin toward the Tian Fa Ancient Heaven realm spread throughout the holy region. The entire Saint AI was once again in discussion. Roar. In the vast starry sky, 9 divine dragons pulled the dragon palanquin. All sorts of demonic beasts and desolate beasts in the starry sky sensed the aura and immediately retreated far away. The speed of the wind god dragons was extremely fast, especially when they were led by 2 second-order god Emperor Realm wind god dragons. According to Wang Xian's estimation, they would need at most 10 days to cross the Tian Fa Ancient Heaven region. Ugh, this speed is too fast. I can't see anything. Invincible stood in front of the dragon palanquin and squinted his eyes. If it weren't for the wind divine dragon resisting the impact of the speed, his body would have collapsed. Hee. Beside him, Tianjin looked at him and smiled. He waved his arm and said, "Here's a little toy for you." "What is it?" Invincible took it over and looked at the mirror-like object in front of him. "Wow, this is good stuff." "Thank you, Grandpa Tianjin." Invincible toyed with the mirror and revealed an excited look. Through the mirror, he could see a faraway place and slow down the surrounding scenery. Hee. Tianjin smiled faintly as he squinted his eyes and stood at the side. Invincible took the mirror and looked left and right. "Dragon King, we're about to enter the Tian Fa Ancient Heaven region. Should we fly or use the teleportation formation?" Tianjin asked Wang Xian 2 days later. "Let's use the teleportation formation." In the Dragon Palanquin, Wang Xian was nurturing the 5 elements Great Grindstone. He pondered for a moment before replying. Although the teleportation formation was a little troublesome, it was faster than flying. It could save about half the time. "Yes, Dragon King. Dragon King, just sit in the Dragon Palanquin. There's no need to come out." Tianjin nodded his head and replied, "Aofeng, I'll send you a route. We'll leave from the teleportation formation of the planet." Tianjin said to the eldest Wind Divine Dragon. "All right." Aofeng nodded his head. Soon, a message was sent to Aofeng's mind. He scanned the surroundings. "Head to the planet on the left." After sending the message to his brothers and sisters, the 9 Wind Divine Dragons flew towards the nearest planet. When the planet with life appeared before them, the 9 Wind Divine Dragons let out a deep roar and arrived above the planet in an instant. With a sweep of their minds, they sensed the location of the teleportation formation and moved. Wang. In the next moment, they appeared above the teleportation formation. The huge figure cast a shadow on the ground. "What's that?" says. "What's that? What a horrifying aura." "Oh no, is that a galactic beast? Be careful." "What's that?" They're pulling a palanquin behind them. The sudden appearance of the 9 Wind Divine Dragons made everyone on the planet nervous and fearful. The Dragon King is on a journey. Let's borrow the teleportation formation here. Compared to other star regions, Tian Fa Ancient Heaven region was lagging behind in terms of information. Tianjin stood beside the palanquin and spoke. His voice reverberated around the teleportation formation. Swish, 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 swish. "Greetings, Dragon King. Greetings, Dragon King. Let's clean up the teleportation formation immediately. It's our honor that the Dragon King could come to our planet." In the next moment, experts flew out from the rooms below with fear and awe on their faces. They bowed their bodies and shouted with reverence on their faces. They were just short of kneeling down. There's no need to go through so much trouble. As soon as the sky formation said this, the 9 divine wind dragons flew towards the teleportation formation. The teleportation formation on every planet occupied a huge area. However, the size of the 9 wind divine dragons was too terrifying. They shrunk their size slightly and descended towards the teleportation formation. Wang. Wrapped in energy, they teleported according to the route. Soon, their figures disappeared gradually. From their arrival to their departure, it took less than a minute. Divine dragons? Those are the 9 divine dragons of the Dragon Palace. The one in the palanquin must be the Dragon King. That aura is too horrifying. Is this the might of the Dragon Palace? Is this the might of the divine dragons? 9 divine dragons pulling the palanquin. Are they heading towards the 8 desolations to destroy the 8 desolations? At the side, more than a dozen experts roared in shock. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.